7 o'clock in St. Louis. You're listening to TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN, the TMA STL YouTube channel. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. A gentleman by the name of Jackson Burkett is on the ones and twos, and we welcome you to participate in our Healthcare Evolution 7 o'clock hour by calling in, texting in, or talking it over with other TMA listeners in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. The Callier and Thompson phone lines, 314-974-0101. And you can text in at 314-399-9646. You have 4 hours to get your name saved in the Air Comfort Service text inbox, and otherwise you're done. You're done until February because that is the policy that Jackson Burkett has, and that is the policy that we as hosts respect. The man is busy. He's busy as a beaver. And he doesn't have the time to update these names in the second, third, and fourth weeks of January. But when the first week of February rolls around, he has time for it. But now you got 4 hours. Request it politely. But at 11 o'clock, you're done.
Okay.
Done. 314-399-9646. Doug, I see Hoosier Daddy sent this in at 4:56 a.m.
Okay.
I want to go spelunking in Doug's Cavern. I didn't know you opened up. I knew about Merrimack Caverns down 44.
The property is so big that I have there in Sunset Hill. There might be caverns there that I haven't even seen, Tim.
And you're inviting Hoosier Daddy to go spelunking?
He can go as long as he stays away from the barn off.
Doug, is it always a cool 62 degrees? What is it?
It's like Merrimack Caverns.
Okay.
That's right. Jay Randolph used to always tell us that.
Jay Randolph was the voice of Merrimack Caverns.
They're already gathered in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, and that's wonderful to see early in the morning with 63 friends. They were just sitting there waiting for us.
Oh, okay.
Isn't it nice to have friends waiting for you?
Well, sure. Ours is the type of show where friends feel they can wait at any time.
Like John Scores, who says, TGIF, boys. Jake Reynolds, John Scores, MD 2020, Michael Sturgeon, and Kitty Bates are all in there, including the overbearing sports dad who we believe changed his name from Heimblum Spreadsheet and then got sideways with Carlos Spicy Wiener after he bragged about his 14-year-old son's volleyball career. Am I correct on that?
Well, it seems right. I don't know. I can't follow it all.
There's a lot of listener warfare here on the program. And on the program, we also will have the Stiefel dossier featuring Joey Vitale at 8 o'clock. Is that correct? And the Colonel at 9 o'clock. The design
Vitale at 8:15. I'm sorry.
Okay. And the Colonel at 9 o'clock, and the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com, with the $10,000 HVAC system on the line. And we have a leader. I don't know if it's a lady or a gentleman, but
Fella. It's a fella.
You know the incel?
But they're all men, yes. All but a couple. When in doubt, it's a guy.
I think a lot of 24-year-old grad students at the University of Missouri,
Next to
University
none.
of Illinois, Tridelts,
I don't think so.
Gamma Phi's, Chios,
I don't think so.
DGs,
No,
listen to this show and email in. Either way, he or she is the incel from the other end of the couch, and he or she has the lead in the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today. Wouldn't it be fun for the sorority house to have a new HVAC system courtesy of Seth Goldcamp and Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today?
Boy, it would take a big one, too, to heat a huge sorority house. Boy.
You send down all those handsome fellows to the sorority house.
Can you imagine if the bold and daring Adam showed up in Greektown?
They'd have a field day.
Roll tape.
Sharon and Clayton is already texting in from her vacation where she's in Sanibel today. And she says, need to send the Senators a fruit basket for taking away the headline for hockey team with most drama. Holy hell, how hard is it to stay faithful? Men are pigs. Doug, what does that mean? The Ottawa Senators?
They got a thing going on in Ottawa.
Martin, were you aware of this?
I actually am not aware of this.
I'm operating at a 99.8% confidence level that Jackson Burkett is not aware of this.
Tight read. I read something about
you and Sharon do show prep.
Linus Ullmark, I believe, is a goalie. Apparently, he or his wife shared some stories about some infidelity on the road involving teammates that got around the whole team, and now everybody hates Ullmark. And I think he's been temporarily told to sit a few games out.
And the Senators issued a statement. Our organization was extremely disappointed to read the completely fabricated and false stories that are spreading around social media about our hockey club. It goes on for a while there, but apparently Linus is now away from our team for personal reasons.
Yeah.
He's literally taking some time away.
The statement includes the term trolls and sick people. Could change the name of this show.
Who scour the internet. So I didn't see the original post.
Yeah,
therefore,
now I see it in The Athletic. This is what happens when you don't really spend as much time as you'd like on social media, completely oblivious to it. I thought we were going to be talking Ottawa Senators hockey, and I was going to be...
Enter the trolls.
I don't know how much else we need to discuss it. It's just kind of an interesting little story.
Brian Henson says, Sharon and Doug taking the... What does that mean?
What the hell? And this guy's a writer, professional writer, and that's his sentence.
He's waiting for the Colts at-large bid to the playoffs. Did Sharon just call men pigs? And then it gets graphic. All right. 314-399-9646. That's how you can text in. 314-974-0101. That's how you can call in, and you can join other TMA listeners. You open up your YouTube app, and you type TMA STL, and now you're in there watching the show. And you can always go back and watch the show anytime you want. It can be a form of podcasting, and that is the TMA STL YouTube channel, where 6,430 friends have subscribed, and you can subscribe as well just by clicking the subscribe button. And then, Doug, you like to smash that notifications button.
I don't
smash
anything.
Miami has defeated Ole Miss to advance to the college football playoff championship game. Doug, your immediate reaction, go.
Fantastic game. Thrilling game to watch, especially that fourth quarter was just unbelievable. Little pass interference on the Hail Mary at the end, but they never called that. I guess Mississippi scored a little too early there, late fourth quarter, because it appeared both defenses were absolutely gassed there at the end. Those 320-pound defensive linemen have trouble mounting much of a pass rush by the end of the game. But really an exciting, thrilling game. I kept thinking about your bet with Miami because I wanted Ole Miss to win just because I like the story of the team.
Yeah.
But Carson Beck, in just his 7th year of college football, was able to rally the Hurricanes there at the end with a terrific drive.
Did you think as a young kid he might be a little nervous on the big stage, Doug?
Well, he's, 36 or 7 now?
35, be fair.
Okay.
How about the you and Marco Cristobal, right? You can never win the big game until you do. Until you do, Doug. Until you do. But
he's a little awkward, isn't he?
Yeah, like in his interviews even and such.
And on the stage, says, turn around. We're trying to give you this trophy. Turn around.
But the game itself reminded me of an NFL playoff game, and it's college football is now getting closer and closer to feeling like an NFL watch when you're watching that game. Even if the first 3 quarters weren't, it was a close competitive game, but the fourth quarter, and maybe this is happening in all of these leagues, NFL, college football. Maybe the defenses are tired, and it opens up the offense because you see these low-scoring games, and all of a sudden, fourth quarter happened with the Steelers-Ravens the other night, and the Ole Miss game last night, where all of a sudden they're just exchanging touchdown drives. When for 3 quarters, it's a field goal here and a field goal there.
Well, and they're doing the hurry-up, no-huddle offense, so you can't swap the D lineman in and out. And if you're 320 pounds and you've been rushing the quarterback for 3.5 hours, it gets a little tiring, I'm sure.
Specific to the actual overall gameplay, I think we would all agree that Miami should have been up comfortably both at the half and through 3 quarters. Would you agree?
Yeah, it felt like they were a much better team, especially in the first half.
But part of being a much better team is not creating self-inflicted wounds. And my goodness, how many self-inflicted wounds did they have on a combination of dumb penalties, period, on a combination of their defensive backs dropping 5
right in their hands.
5 interceptions. And then also, I would say, the play calling for the offense. And I don't know if that's Shannon Dawson, their offensive coordinator, if that's Mario Cristobal, who personally, of the 4 coaches, and I realize Golding is operating in a different spot, but specific to Dan Lanning and Kurt Cignetti, I just don't trust the guy. All they had to do was run the football. I was in a group text with a couple of group texts, and somebody made the observation, doesn't this kind of remind you of like watching a Missouri game with regard to specifically the play calling, where it's clear you just need to run the football and they're not running the football? because you had Fletcher carrying guys. Remember, there was a play where he carried him 15 yards.
Yeah.
Carried him 15 yards. So how do you respond? With a flea flicker. And I'm just going, what are we doing? It's as fortunately as simple as Ole Miss already has a defensive/tackling issue. That was known going into it. And Miami can run the ball, and clearly they're dominating the trenches, and they just didn't do it. So that also played a role in allowing it to be closer than it should be. Miami will not have that ability to play that poor of a game from a penalty standpoint, from a dropping opportunities on interceptions standpoint, and from an offensive play calling standpoint if they're to get past Oregon and Indiana. I had two thoughts as that thing was going into the third quarter. If I'm an Oregon fan, if I'm an Indiana fan, and I'm sure we have a lot of Indiana fans who are listening right now, I wanted to see Ole Miss win that game because Miami was clearly the better team last night. And then secondarily, deep down, even though you don't want to say it because you would feel like you're jinxing it, I would say we're operating at about a 70% chance that the winner of tonight's game wins the national championship. I just think there is a gap between what Oregon and Indiana are and what Miami and Ole Miss are. Now, I think Miami's got all the talent in the world, but Miami also suffered a lot of injuries last night to that defense that's really played a role in their run here over the last couple of months. So that is my takeaway from last night's festivities. Your takeaway, welcome at 314-399-9646 or by calling in 314-974-0101. Here is Mario Cristobal following the game.
Hit the lever, please, Pale.
I want to give a ton of credit to our players. I can't even tell you how many of our guys were sick, had the flu, had issues, and all they kept talking about was we're going to find a way, we're going to find a way. So, look, we're focused on, of course, enjoying this one, but we got to get focused on 1-0 one more time.
Exactly. Now, Carson Beck, with an opportunity there to run it in on the game-winning touchdown, he's dealt with so much. You told him before this game you were so proud of him. How has that pride grown tonight?
I mean, that's a perfect example of a guy who just, he feels supported, he's hungry, he's driven, he's a great human being, and all he wants to do is want to see his teammates have success. And that's what we witnessed tonight. And Carson Beck, I can't say enough great things about him. Love the guy, absolutely awesome.
Oh, boy, there was a big hit right there at the end. Miami also lost a player or two to targeting, right? And they'd have to sit out the first half of the title game? I know they lost at least one there late in the game.
I sold all my crowdsourcing stock at 8 o'clock last night.
They lost. Are the rules any different?
I was curious about the same thing.
No, he sits out.
He sits out for the first half?
Yeah, that could be a factor as well.
Miami feels like Penn State last year, where they've exercised a lot of ghosts. The coach is kind of off the hook until he's not. Like, they're making a great run. Good for a big-time brand like Penn State to, win some games. Same with Miami. But if they don't win at all, then you're not back where you started. But there's still a little specter of, I don't know if they can win the big one.
I also think Miami caught a big break, as unfortunate it is, with the former Missouri running back, Kilcoyne Lacey, getting hurt on his touchdown run because they just did not have the same offensive attack on the ground in the second half. But to Ole Miss, Charlie Weiss Jr. of LSU calling last night's game, and Pete Golding, they were able to get it going through the air. I think what they were running into in the first quarter in particular is some slow developing pass plays where the Mississippi offensive line just didn't have the ability to stop Miami's defensive line, and Chambliss was under pressure and had no time whatsoever to throw. So to their credit, they adjusted, and man, I think Chambliss had the ball in his hands at the most for a second and a half, and they were able to just pick apart with short passes the Miami defense, and that's how they got things going. And I think that started toward the end of the first half, where they were able to get a field goal attempt. And my God, what a weapon it is to have that caliber of kicker. I know he missed one from 50-plus yards, and then he banked it in off the left upright. But that is quite a force to have when you have a kicker in college who is reliable from 55-plus yards. And that's what Ole Miss
and made them by plenty, too.
Yes. And is coming back next year.
Yeah, well, the pay is pretty good.
You better believe it.
He said he was having a good time in college. I can imagine that he is. I think if Ole Miss had just another 20, 25 seconds there at the end, they probably would have gotten in the end zone.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
There was no stopping either team at that point. But they didn't have it, so they lost.
They showed Mr. Licks in the stands on the broadcast. He was wearing a soy sauce-stained Reebok Trinidad Chambliss jersey with no undershirt. That's from Mr.
Really?
Mudjack. Mike, did you guys see Mr. Licks on the broadcast?
I saw a few people there, but I'm not sure it was him.
Would you be able to identify a stain? Is this specifically a soy sauce stain?
I guess if you're coming
It's a great
out,
question, Jackson.
Thank you.
Welcome to the conversation.
coming out of like a Japanese restaurant and they had a dark stain on your shirt, you might assume it is.
Yeah, that'd be fair. But just in the stands, I just assume it's au jus.
Yeah, I could see au jus. Maybe a Grassi's. You like that French dip from Grassi's?
Sure.
Martin, I got you there. And delicious seasoned fries.
Little parm sandwich, yeah.
Hotty toddy, Ole Miss representative saying, as Douglas would say, I'm not going to be much good to you guys today. Have a lot of Ole Miss grads and or attendees who are in the St. Louis area, especially here over the last 15 years or so. I would imagine it's got to be tough to be that close and then watch Miami methodically go down the field. Of the 4 quarterbacks in the college football playoff going into last night's semifinals, I don't think there's any question that Carson Beck, number one, had the biggest reputation of being a potential liability and the widest delta of he can be great, but he can kill you. And to his credit, when they needed him, 2 different drives, he led his team down the field. And that was a hell of an impressive performance by a guy that, candidly, I didn't trust going into that game or even that final drive.
Yeah, the passing stats were remarkably similar. You see that? Where Beck and Chambliss were both 23 for 37.
Yeah.
One threw for 268, one for 277. They both averaged 7 yards a pass.
Yeah, and
Remarkably.
great on that touchdown run, recognizing man, being patient in the pocket, then finding a lane to get out there with no one even close to him. That was impressive.
It scared me the way he was holding that ball. When he was running into the end zone, I thought Miami would win, so I was rooting for them only because I thought they would win, so I wanted to back that up.
Yeah.
Put a $5 bet on that, big
Nice.
time. But I wanted him to score to win the game, and then he was just carrying that ball in there. I'm like, well, tuck that away, son.
Yeah, you've seen a few of them fumble right there, at the, or spike the ball at the 1 yard line.
Or you don't see a guy coming, like he was wide open, but he doesn't know. A lot of times a player comes out of nowhere and knocks that ball loose.
Boy, that game took forever.
How long was it?
4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hour game.
About 6:30 to 10:30.
I mean, I think it kicked off at 6:43, give or take.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" I didn't go to bed until 11:30. Now the game ended it, I guess, at like
10:35-ish.
Yeah, I think a little later than that. But either way, the second half of the 10 o'clock hour. So yeah, you're talking about 4 hours. That's college football for you.
Halftime seemed considerably longer than NFL games too.
For sure.
Tim, these are Tom Pondoff's words of wisdom. Live with her for 6 months before you marry her. You knock her up before you're out of college, and I'll kill you. Don't be the drunkest guy in the room. Nobody remembers the second drunkest guy in the room. Everyone remembers the drunkest. And finally, for Linus, what you hear in the locker room stays in the locker room. Don't say that stuff around your mother either. That's from the recovering alcoholic, and he's going back to the Ottawa Senators.
He's trying to get us off the track.
I like the idea, though, that the drunkest guy everybody remembers, Doug, but the second drunkest guy kind of slides under the radar.
I got to tell you, that's good counsel right there.
Right.
And that's
I
why
want to see Doug all drunk.
and that's why he runs a drug church? Is that what he does?
I think he does, yeah.
So that's good counsel there, recovering alcoholic. Thank you so much. Guys, they showed Mr. Licks in the stands in the broadcast, so another person saw him as well. How is Licks doing this morning? Must be crushing to see his alma mater that close to the championship game and then lose, especially with the non-call at the end of the game. That's from the 636. I don't know if Licks actually was in Glendale or not, but the listeners are saying he is an Ole Miss guy. And
do we know
he's
that
he is going to be despondent, so maybe he'll call in. I don't know.
Is it a TMA docs? Are we sure he's an Ole Miss
He's
guy?
denied it vehemently, but that just makes you think it's more true than ever.
Let's call in 314-974-0101 regarding the play call at the end of the game. Here is what Pete Golding had to say about it.
A PI on that last Hail Mary?
I mean, those situations are tough to call them. I mean, those situations, but I mean, yeah, there was contact, but I mean, it happens a lot. You know, that's not why we lost the game, but you know, we just had a lot of opportunities late. But I mean, I think it shows you the resiliency of the team. You know, I mean, they didn't care. Was it 18-15? They're going to go out there and give it all they got, and you know, looks like you ran out of time, but we didn't execute well enough, didn't prepare well enough, and we didn't coach good enough.
Oh, yes, you did. He did. He coached well enough. They prepared well enough. They just got beat at the end. They ran out of time.
On that final play, seemed to be mutual contact, I felt. It seemed like both guys were kind of jockeying for position.
That's what the rules experts said about it on the broadcast.
Yeah.
They said there was I forget the phrase he used, mutual contact or
combat.
Yeah, mutual combat.
I like that.
Joey Galloway, I was watching his interview on Sports Center. I guess it was Scott Van Pelt, and he said, you know, and there's a wide receiver, and he said those just don't get called. It sucks, but at the same time, that is the nature of the beast. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm understandably pissed off. If the shoe were on the other foot, I'm quite confident Miami fans would have been pissed off. But that is the way that it goes on Hail Marys. The difference on this Hail Mary is it wasn't one of those 50-yard Doug Flutie, Aaron Rodgers Hail Marys. They were kind of at the midpoint. I know Miami fans, of course, feel like, and I think they're right, that they had a national championship stolen from them on a pass interference call, and so that this is just, at least for those who can remember that 20 years ago. That one, though, was, you know, inside of, I think, the 5-yard line, if I'm not mistaken, when Ohio State. Was that Craig Krenzel, Doug? Craig Krenzel?
That sounds right.
The Maurice Claret Buckeyes.
Yeah. Jim Tressel. So that's the nature of the beast. I
wasn't sure it was catchable. Not that you can say for sure, but it wasn't egregious. Like, oh my God, it was about to go into his hands, and then he tackled him. It would have been very difficult had it to be caught to get a foot down because it was toward the back of the end zone. But unfortunately, I feel like we've had that happen for a relatively recent Missouri game, and you just kind of understand going in. It sucks. You don't like it as a fan, but that's the nature of the situation, that there will be obstruction on both parties. And I think, you know, one of the things that plays out, which I think makes college football so great, is that there is this undercurrent of people polling in the South for one team and people polling in the North for the other team that is not the SEC team. And so SEC fans are those who are, you know, tied to the conference for being fans of an SEC school, make their case. And then there are just people who just hate the SEC and so are in pure celebration mode that for the third straight year, Doug, no SEC representative. You had Michigan and Washington. At the time, Washington not in the Big Ten. You had Ohio State and Notre Dame last year, and this year you will have a Big Ten school and an ACC school. No SEC in there. So SEC fans who want to defend the conference's honor are now holding on to the Hail Mary and the missed call, as it's being called.
Had what, four SEC teams in the playoffs?
Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Georgia.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, 5.
Okay.
And if Indiana wins, or I guess Oregon can win, that's 3 straight years for the Big Ten. That does add a little something to that debate, right, about Big Ten versus SEC. Mm-hmm. But it's also, who cares? Like, if you, I mean, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you want your team to win, they don't win. Okay, if you're an Ole Miss fan, you're like, well, I just wish Bama would have won it. Then you're not thinking.
I'd never think, like, I wasn't watching last night. Like, man, I hope Ole Miss wins to represent the old SEC.
But you're passionate about the National League Central, so why the difference?
Right. And what really passionate, oh boy, now I'm out over my skis, what division the Blues are in.
Doug. Wow. What division are the St. Louis Blues in? What division are the St. Louis Blues in?
Central?
Yes, look at this guy, Peter Puck.
Sharp.
Well, I remember they named him after guys for a little bit, and I wasn't sure.
Well, they were the Norris division.
guys.
The conference would be the Wales, the Campbell. I kind of missed that, actually. And they were in the Norris, and they were always rugged, so they called it the Chuck Norris.
Yeah, sure. No, it's good.
Oh, come on.
Can't appreciate a little NHL history, boy.
I get it.
So you want to see a shot of Rob Lowe at the game wearing just a hat that says SEC?
Yeah, it just means more. I never got that. I get like the debate because it's an easy, like, fun debate to have, but the conference pride I don't feel. But maybe that's because, as SEC people would say, we at Mizzou don't belong.
Well, it could be because it's purely professional football at this point.
Right.
Unlike the NFL that plays for a city, these guys play for a college, and no longer, can Texas and Florida seal the borders and get all the players from those areas, talent-rich areas. With the NIL now, they swap teams every year. So you don't really have a regional, I don't think, much of a regional advantage by being in a football-rich state.
Yeah. I think I was watching last night and weird thought, but I thought that they did a good job of keeping all the fans in one place, like the Ole Miss fans in one place, Miami fans in one place, like the Quan Lacey touchdown, the shot from behind. It's just a wall of Ole Miss fans. I thought that was pretty cool for these non-campus games.
Take some logistics.
Yeah. Same with Carson Beck's touchdown running in. He was running right into Miami fans. I thought that was cool. Brought some atmosphere.
Want to check with Libby Maduro if he can name every WNBA division. That's from Eric in the Central West End.
Libby Maduro.
I can just do conferences because there's not that many teams.
Well, they are expanding.
They are. Yeah, you'll see a lot more of that.
Never forget the Legends and Leaders divisions. That's the Hunchback of Uncastle. Remember that, Doug? That was
so
the Big Ten.
stupid. Yeah, just incredibly stupid.
You're welcome to get involved on the program. 314-399-9646. That's how you can text into the Air Comfort Service text inbox. Call into the Callier and Thompson phone lines. Chairman Kurt standing by. 314-974-0101. That is how you can call in to the program. And then you can jump into the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat with 157 friends already in there talking this morning. Subscribe to the TMA STL YouTube channel. 6,430 friends have done so. And that's the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Coming up on the program, Joey Vitale at 8:15, the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond at 9 o'clock, and our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Design Air is online at DesignAirService.com. Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling, the longest running sponsor on TMA. Doug's a client, Martin's a client, and I'm a client as well, and he has put on the greatest promotion in TMA history with giving away this $10,000 HVAC system for the winner of the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the month. Send yours in the morning after at InsideSTL.com, and any HVAC issues you may have, just go to DesignAirService.com. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Don't you like this, Jim?
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Well, that's where the U will be playing a home game for the national championship. We're going back to Hard Rock. Hard Rock. We're going back to Hard Rock. I don't think so. LL Cool J. What do you think that was? 88? 87?
Gosh, I don't know the years, Tim.
I'm going to say 87 to get me 88 and 86. Boy, I don't know. I don't feel good about this. I would allocate maybe like 7% of your bankroll on it. Do with it what you want.
87.
Okay. Oh, brother.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. A lot of college football playoff discussion in the first half hour of the healthcare evolution. 7 o'clock hour here on TMA. Healthcare Evolution is online at healthcare-evolution.com. Every time I have talked about our new sponsor of the 7 o'clock hour this week, the text inbox has lit up. I would imagine a number of our listeners have dealt with this. You play some kind of sports, you're working out, and all of a sudden you've got yourself an injury. Is it a serious injury? What is the process? You go and you contact your primary physician. Odds are you're not going to be able to get in for a couple of weeks. So you're dealing with the pain for a couple of weeks. Then you see your primary physician. And what's your primary physician going to say? Doug, you want to guess? I know you spent some time in medical school, but you chose to do this.
Go to a specialist.
That's right.
Right.
Well, the specialist isn't saying, oh, I'll see you right now. Now you're probably going to have to wait a few weeks on that one. Now you're still dealing with the pain.
Yeah, or months.
Yeah, as the case might be. Mm-hmm. And then you see the specialist and they might recommend physical therapy. Or now you get an MRI, then you get the results, and it's taken at this point 8 weeks, 12 weeks, who knows how long. What if you could go into a place literally today? Well, that's what you can do with Healthcare Evolution. It is a revolution at Healthcare Evolution. Healthcare-evolution.com. That's healthcare-evolution.com. Pain in the lineup. Traditional healthcare often benches you for months before you have an answer or real treatment options. Appointments, referrals, physical therapy, imaging, co-pays piling up. At Healthcare Evolution, you're evaluated that day with treatment options. I went out there and had them look at the shoulder labrum tear I had, and it's a totally different type of technology where, as opposed to lying in an MRI capsule, they are able to move around the ultrasound to see exactly where the ailment is. And this treatment includes regenerative injections focused on pain relief and healing. Same goal, less time, less frustration at Healthcare Evolution. Schedule a consultation today to discover how Healthcare Evolution can help you get back to living life and doing so comfortably. Why wait months to feel better? Book now at healthcare-evolution.com. See my guy Logan Taylor at Healthcare Evolution, sponsor of the 7 o'clock hour, online at healthcare-evolution.com. Jim Montgomery joined the Fast Lane yesterday, Doug, to discuss just what happened with Jordan Binnington and Joel Hofer in the third period of that debacle in Chicago on Wednesday night. Here is his explanation.
Looking back on it now, can you maybe give us a little peek behind the curtain as to kind of what was going on in that moment so we can get rid of some of the rumors and speculations?
Yep. So after the seventh goal went in, we decided to make a change in nets, and we had already radioed down in advance that if that happened, there could be a change. And as you know, in Chicago, there's not enough room on the benches for the goalie to sit. So you guys sit back in the locker room, and they usually have half their gear off, just because they're sitting back there watching, and the temperature in the room isn't the same. They don't need all that equipment on in the jersey. So when we decided to make the change, Joel Hofer wasn't ready. And so he tried to, put his top half on as quick as possible. There was a little delay in communication too, but minor to being prepared. And you know what? It really symbolizes the last half of our game and the first period of our special teams. We weren't prepared to get the job done. We lost the battle of the net front as well, and it was just like the exclamation mark to how we, tried to win that game last night.
Was he having a snack?
Sounds like a treat. What kind of treat was that?
Maybe like a Chex Mix or something. It seemed like he was kind of chewing on something.
Chex Mix.
Pistachio.
But then he kind of moved on, and our whole team wasn't ready. I'm like, I need a little
Do you prefer
more.
Chex Mix or Gardettos?
Gardettos can be awfully salty.
Yeah.
I like when it's salty sweet.
I like the bagel chips there in the Gardettos.
Oof.
I still wonder how you can have a building.
Thank you.
Doug's killing a great conversation on Gardettos.
How you can have a building that hosts NHL hockey and not have enough room on the bench for all of the players.
It's a small market.
It's the
Not
third
a lot
largest
of money.
market in the country. It's an enormous building. It's not a building that was made 100 years ago.
Well, they couldn't play a basketball game last night because there was condensation on the
Maybe
floor.
there's an issue with the United
hell?
Center. Now, that's back-to-back nights where we've had a little bit of logistical issues. Interesting.
It'd be like
Can
building.
they fix it? Don't you think they would find a way?
It'd be like building a baseball stadium. And well, sorry, the dugouts just aren't big enough for all you guys. You're gonna have to go back in the locker room and go ahead and take your uniform off because we don't know if we're gonna need you or not. This is ridiculous.
So you're skeptical on this story.
We're not skeptical as much as you're mad. Well, no, first you were. Are you skeptical or are you mad at Hofer? Or both?
I just don't understand how it can happen on a couple different fronts. How a building cannot be prepared to put an entire team on the bench, number one. And then how, as a player, you're not ready to go when they need you, regardless of where you have to watch the game. I don't know how it happens.
Jeremy Rutherford earlier in the day had a conversation with the Blues' Jim Montgomery and said the core issue was that Joel Hofer was just not ready to enter the game when the Blackhawks took that 7-2 lead with 7 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. During the stoppage and play, the Blues decided to make a change in net. Montgomery said, we signaled back to make the goalie switch, and the lines of communication on the headset weren't clear initially. Hofer wasn't ready, and it kind of symbolizes last night's play. Our special teams weren't ready. Hofer wasn't ready. Binner had no issue. He knew what we were doing, so there was zero malcontent by Jordan Binnington. Ultimately, that all falls on me that the goalie wasn't ready to go in because I'm the head coach and I'm the one in charge of this team, so I've got to make sure the lines of communication are better. JR writes in The Athletic, there was much speculation that Binnington was aware of the change, but elected not to look at the bench and remain in the game. However, the TNT broadcast showed Binnington with his back to the crossbar, waiting for Hofer to step onto the ice. Approximately a minute 20 after the goal was scored, Montgomery waved Binnington to the bench. I motioned to him, and he nodded to me, yes. However, Binnington still didn't see Hofer, so that's why he didn't skate off. And Montgomery said that's common. You don't leave your crease until the other guy is skating toward you. About 12 seconds after Montgomery's wave, the puck was dropped at center ice and play resumed. And then it goes into how some NHL rinks, such as Chicago, the backup goalie sits on the bench with the team or in a tunnel, and that heads back to the locker room. But the setup's different. But the setup is different in Chicago, where there's no room for the backup to sit on the bench. Typically, the backup stays in the locker room during the game, and that's where Hofer was, according to Montgomery, and he didn't have his top half of his equipment on. He said someone had to go tell Hofer. Hofer was half-dressed, so that was the delay. It's just not commonplace that guys are going to sit in the dressing room with all their equipment on, everybody between periods. When they go back to the locker room, no one keeps their jersey on because you want to cool down. And if you're a goaltender, you have even more equipment on. It's not cool in there like it is in the rink. So Hofer eventually got his equipment on and came down the tunnel, but by then, play had resumed, and the decision was to let Binnington play out the game.
Okay.
And you did see a member of the staff, I don't know if he's equipment or whatever, ran down the hall. So I think the video, also Binnington's reaction, I think the video backs up that story, but it still goes back to Doug's premise. How can you not at least be kind of ready?
Right.
It is an NHL game.
Throw the jersey on at the last minute, put the helmet on. Okay, I got that. But everything is off. How many times have you seen a goalie hurt in the NHL and have to be replaced?
Right.
Have you ever one time heard, well, we'd like to replace this hurt goalie, but the other guy's not dressed?
When Danny Padre was in net for the Winnipeg Jets series, was that game 5 he won? He was ready.
Never played.
He was ready.
Yeah, I guess if a league had that kind of rule for a number of years, we shouldn't be so surprised about this.
It does seem like the United Center could maybe fix this issue. I also think we might hear from Joe Hofer today. I'm assuming he's playing tonight in Salt Lake, and maybe they'll roll him out there to kind of put an end to it or just kind of eat it for a second.
Yeah. Is he on the policy of we don't talk on the day of a start? Roman Turek had that policy, Doug, and that's what led him to 3 Vezinas. Am I right? 3 Vezinas?
No, I didn't win any.
And then Jeff Suppan added the day before a start.
Yeah,
I said, well, what's that about? He said, because I'm already thinking about the start tomorrow. I said, you just don't want to talk?
No, and then Chris Carpenter just added the entire season.
Yeah.
It's just so hot to think that Hofer was sitting back there naked behind the bench. Doug, that's Eric in the Central West End.
He wasn't naked, but something doesn't add up in the whole story. There's a missing something in this story.
Honestly, that is super hot that Hofer is just sitting back there topless with his helmet on. This from Mr. Licks, who...
it'd be one thing to perhaps not be ready.
Ole Miss right now.
It might be one thing to not be ready if your goalie's playing great. You know you're not going in. He's working on a shutout, or you're ahead 4-1. They're not going to replace the goalie. It's another if your goalie is getting lit up and it looks like there's a chance you might have to play in this game. Perhaps you'd want to be ready to go.
It was
naked bodies.
It was 5-2 heading into the third. To your point, that 6th goal could do it. That 7th goal could do it. I think the later in the game it got, the prevailing NHL wisdom is at that point you don't pull the goalie. So maybe that's what he was leaning on. Like, oh well, it's silly. Got to be prepared. Want to hear from Hofer. Don't really care, but it's kind of a mirror of this season, which has just been a little bit of a joke.
I think the reason why it would matter is if Jordan Binnington refused to come out. I think that is why it's getting the attention from a healthy percentage of Blues fans. Plenty of people either don't care or just think that the whole thing is kind of amusing because you had the image of Hofer peeking around the corner. Now, Henrik Lundqvist, star netminder, is on that show on TNT, and he was talking about it, and he was sympathetic with Hofer, and he said, in certain arenas, the benches are really tight, so then you sit in the locker room and watch the game, and then if a change happens, you have to come in, and sometimes it takes a minute for you to get ready. I've had a couple of instances. I remember in Winnipeg, I was backing up, and I was in the gym and the other side watching the game. I was watching on TV, and I was like, this doesn't look good. I could see them communicating, and it was, oh boy, I need to go in and get ready. So he said that this does happen in certain buildings, and he can buy into what the Blues are saying. I think the peeking around the corner is the smoking gun for those who are pointing to a conspiracy.
He certainly didn't look like somebody scrambling to get ready to go on the ice. He looked like someone that said, are you sure you need me?
It looked like an after-school special. Here's the bad guy in the neighborhood behind a tree coming to get you. But I think the Binnington question initially was brought up on the broadcast, and it was legit because we know Binnington can be a little edgy or pissy, whatever you want to call it, and he's had the stare down with Monty earlier this season. But I think he's vindicated by what you can see is that he's just kind of standing there, and if Hofer goes out, he probably skates off, and then he might stare down Monty or might even MF him if he wants to, but I don't think he even had the chance to leave. I bet you if you asked Binnington on the lie detector, he'd probably say, well, it was stupid. You don't take me out there. That's embarrassing. Just let me finish the game. I bet that would be his honest opinion, but I think he would have come off the ice.
Team sucks. Who cares? And tell Jackson to change my name. Finally. That's from Patrick Bateman.
Okay.
Get screwed. Hey, guys, can we have a Drops Friday where Jackson actually plays drops? It'd be sweet. It's just an idea for you. Thanks. That's from Big Tough.
It's weird. When I play drops, it's like the text that comes in is like, oh, why is it like, can we have more drops? Like, but if I don't play anything, it just doesn't come up. So
and here we are
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You're saying because you just played one, it triggered.
I've been playing drops all morning.
Play more.
We're here giving cutting edge takes, and the listeners want to hear producer Joe from 20 years ago say, "Get screwed." That's the show they want.
That's me.
Weird.
You can tell us what to do by texting 314-399-9646. And plus, then you can tell Jackson what to do, like Patrick Bateman just did, and tell Jackson to change your name.
Change his name, but there's no request for a name. Like, I don't see where...
Well, maybe he wants you to pick.
Then refresh
Kinda like
my
the
memory.
lottery. Sometimes
no,
you let them pick the
I don't
numbers.
do it
You
for
decide.
No.
When this guy does play drops, they're like the 10 most recent ones he clipped off. None of the OG drops. That's from Libby Jackie DiCaprio.
I just played Naked Bodies with Jim Edmonds. That is not the 10 most recent drops.
And he now has an Ole Miss avatar. I guess that means, Doug, the Tigers are taking on Hottie Toddy.
Okay.
Tomorrow in Oxford, a dreary Oxford, Mississippi. Mr. Licks will call in with his perspective on what listeners say his alma mater losing last night in the college football playoff. 314-974-0101, Mr. Licks. That's the number for the Callier and Thompson phone lines, 314-399-9646. That's the number for the Air Comfort Service text inbox. And then you can join 209 friends on the TMA STL YouTube channel and talk it over in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat for this morning, which is January 9th, 2026 in St. Louis. Joey Vitale coming your way at 8:15. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock. And the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day, where the incel at the other end of the couch has the lead going into the fifth day of the competition for a $10,000 HVAC system from Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling. Email in, compete. Maybe this could be your month. The morning after at InsideSTL.com. All the rules for the competition are up at TMASTL.com and 101ESPN.com. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. It's TMA 101 ESPN.
So many different ways to save when you shop at Schnucks. Everyone's looking to cut expenses, especially your everyday expenses, things like groceries. That's why I love shopping at Schnucks. They're dropping new ads each week with super hot deals on some of my favorite items. You can view those ads a ton of different ways. So many options right now to find the ads, whether you're on the go, you want to browse it in the Schnucks Rewards app or the website, Schnucks.com. They've got the weekly ads there. You can even pick up a paper copy at the entrance of the store. Plus, get the following week's ads 1 week early. Just grab a copy at the store entrance to plan ahead and save. So many more ways to save beyond that weekly ad when you join the Schnucks Rewards. I've been telling folks about this for a long time. That app is great. It helps you shopping, except when I forget to use it and can't find things. Personalized savings, one-stop shop for sales. Bonus points, offers, coupons, all that with the Rewards app. Plus, they launched the new program, the Boost, that we were talking about yesterday. You can play your way to more savings. That's the value you know and love, available at any neighborhood Schnucks store.
This is Jackson with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight, taking on the Utah Mammoth. Pre-game at 7, puck drop at 8, right here on 101 ESPN. That was another SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Aw, Doug. How do you do?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Jimmy Page's birthday.
What do you think there? 1982 year of the Cardinals. It's a celebration. Keith Hernandez, dry humping Daryl Porter, right?
I don't know who he dry humped him.
Flip that off. You want to put a puck on net
for Jimmy Page?
Yep.
I was trying to connect the 82. Where was the 82? Were you tying that to Jimmy Page? No.
I'm going to go Jimmy Page is 82.
Oh, I see. That's where you were there. Oh, that feels a little high, but boy, it's
you
close.
think so?
Oh, boy. 81.
I'll say 82 because I just looked it up.
Is it 82?
Yeah, he's 82.
That was a blind puck on net.
Yeah, he's 82.
Could I have an even better show than I did yesterday?
I
Is it
don't know.
possible?
Yeah.
Self-eliminating.
Do you give yourself a grade when the show's over, Tim?
I do. My dad does.
Kind of like how you grade
Really
the
like
emails.
Timmy's third hour.
Martin's handed me his vote for the email yesterday, and the top vote was the third best he liked, and then at the bottom
I
was
like
the
your
number.
rankings.
It was a weird. It was the middle was number 1.
Yeah, the actual scribbling, keeping track, notation during the reads is different. What I handed you, I wanted to give you some breakdown in case there was
I appreciate
a dispute
it.
or
It
a
actually
tie,
did help. Yeah.
but I wrote them down a little out of order.
Yeah. First double wins. First two-time winner yesterday.
Yeah, the incel from the other end of the couch is the leader right now on the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, and you can compete as well the morning after at InsideSTL.com. It is our healthcare evolution 7 o'clock hour here on the morning after. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Jackson Burkett is on the ones and twos. Chairman Kurt ready to take your calls on the Callier and Thompson phone lines at 314-974-0101. Those phone lines will be where Joey Vitale will join us at 8:15 and Gabe DeArmond will join us at 9 o'clock. And, of course, we look forward to reading your emails for that $10,000 HVAC prize for the month of January at 9:45. There is your Stiefel dossier. I'm MIZ till the day I die, but I have what Jackson would call a parasocial type relationship with Ole Miss. I wish they won so they'd stick it to Kiffin, and I'd have another excuse to go party with a bunch of 10s. Hotty toddy, baby. That's from Little Beer Cats, who is his father's coital hype man.
Oh.
Sounds like he's his own hype man on that one.
Well, I'm with him for rooting for Ole Miss to stick it to Lane Kiffin. I was hoping that would happen.
Well, so was Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher appeared on SEC Nation, and he went after Lane Kiffin, prominent coach, won a national championship at Florida State with Jameis Winston, made tens of millions of dollars in a buyout from Texas A&M, and wants to get back into the game coaching. Here is what Jimbo Fisher...
I forgot to cut it.
Nuts!
I've never seen more a deus angrier.
Hold on, I'll be able to pull it up
The
here in a
one
second.
soundbite I really wanted to hear. The one thing we had to do.
And Timmy was having such a good hour.
Hold on.
Okay.
Papers, is this something that'll be easy to get? If not, we can pivot. I mean, I know this show is...
I got it.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Wow. Whew.
Oh, can you hit the lever,
Jimbo
please?
Here's a look at the Lane Kiffin timeline. Starting in late October. Really
That's
interested
not
in you
him.
can stay or you can with
It
him.
sounds
Ronald
different.
Chang
Oh,
in
they're
his
not
college
gonna be
football
gentle.
playoff run.
Doug,
Then you
they're
do
not
have
gonna be
some guys
gentle.
who are hired at LSU, but are still with Ole Miss because they're trying to finish this thing out, including offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. That's probably the biggest
Doesn't she
name
know we need to
on the
get
list. There's
Jimbo
a ton of guys on this coaching staff pulling double duty. I see you
ACC
shaking your head over there. This is crazy, no?
No, it's selfish. That's what it is. It's stupid. And because here's why I say that. He wanted to coach and thought he didn't get his way. So everybody get on the plane with me, you don't have a job. All right? And he makes them all go. Then he gets down there and takes a PR hit because it looks bad that you really don't care about the kids. Then he says, okay, you can go back. But here's where he screwed up.
He thought they were going to lose.
He thought they were going to lose to Georgia,
Exactly.
and then the portal thing was all over with, and it was going to be all over with. And he said, "Okay, I'll look like a hero."
Yeah.
Now he's got egg on his face because the real lane came back out. You know what I'm saying? And if those guys were allowed to coach the first game, they should be allowed to coach the fourth. Because those kids are doing something that you get one time in your life to ever do.
Literally.
With that team and those guys one time. And as a coach, listen, I know I've left a job. I get that. But if you took them on and said they're never coming back, that's fine. You set the rules of the game. You don't change the rules in the middle of the game. And as a coach, it's hurting the kids and it pisses me off. But
well, what about the end of that edit? Oh, man.
Well, it was just getting good. It was not even an edit. It was an on-the-fly decision.
Gosh.
It's fine. We got the point. I'm with Doug. I'm with Jackson.
I think that went well.
From start to finish.
Yeah, I think that was, the defense.
I agree with his premise that Lane Kiffin probably thought they would lose to Georgia.
That's right. Yeah.
And so he would say, oh, coach, just stay on, do whatever you got to do. And then it's like, oh, crap. Had they won last night, you're talking about 11 more days until the championship game.
Yes, and the portal will have closed by then for the LSU perspective. Now, for Ole Miss, had they won, the rule is that it is 5 days afterwards. But, yes, I think that there might be a tight read on his point. You know, Lane Kiffin enjoys tweeting his congratulations to Ole Miss. It doesn't play well. So the PR element, yeah, he did change the rules in the middle of it. You had to coach against Tulane. He figured what was going to happen there, and it did. They won comfortably. Then you get to coach against Georgia. They'll lose to Georgia, and then I'll have my guys in Baton Rouge. And then it turns out some of the coaches for Ole Miss who got to coach against Georgia were not in Glendale, Arizona last night, and they were not allowed to coach.
It's just incredibly awful what he's been allowed to do down there. Just, it couldn't be worse. To lead a team this far and then to bail out a team that has a chance to win a national championship, you quit because you want to go somewhere else where you think you have a chance to win the national championship. That in itself doesn't make any sense. And then to pluck coaches off the whole thing is just unbelievably horrible.
Now, I understand that, but did you see his tweet 8 hours ago in which he wrote, amazing effort and grit, Ole Miss football, best season ever in the history of Ole Miss. I love you guys, and then a heartbreaking gif.
No.
I love you guys.
Not enough
Down
to
here
stay
in
there with
Vegas. Maybe just sit that one out. Maybe I'm here for the comments, though, Tim. That's what I would like to do is scroll through the comments.
You want to see how they played? They didn't play well, Martin.
No.
I don't want to spoil it for the audience who might. Yeah.
I can't imagine one person saying, thanks, Coach. Really appreciate all your support for the program.
Did anyone see the camera pan to Trinidad Chambliss on the sideline? It looked like he was talking with Austin Simmons. Was Austin Simmons on the sideline for Ole Miss dressed last night?
Yeah, I don't know if I doubt many people are watching College Game Day because that was obviously not your typical College Game Day. Right. They're on the field at the stadium in Arizona, but they got confused. And I can't recall which member of the day has said this. Oh, look at Chambliss getting ready. Yeah. He's getting ready so much so that he's throwing left-handed. And then I can't recall. I think it might have been I think it would have been Herb Street going, yeah, I think that's Austin Simmons. So he picked up his guy and then just moved right on.
Right, yeah.
But yes, Austin Simmons was dressed. Missouri quarterback Austin Simmons.
Right. Some quarterbacks get so ready they just start throwing left-handed.
That'd be awesome. I've always said an ambidextrous quarterback would be elite. You could never have them throw across their body. But I remember Bo Pribula had to leave Penn State before their college football playoff run.
Correct. But they moved it back a little bit.
Because
that's the difference.
Not just Pribula, but because of that set of circumstances. That's what I was wondering. I was wondering, especially with the way Miami was getting to Chambliss in the first quarter, I was going, we might see Austin Simmons tonight.
Yeah.
And then to Chambliss's credit, I mean, what a player. And he could be around when Missouri heads there in October. You know, you'll see Pete Golding. You may see Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, I feel like there's some parallels with Missouri and Ole Miss, both SEC schools, but certainly not viewed usually as a threat by the blue blood SEC schools. And this will just add to the lore if you are an Ole Miss fan. And in the St. Louis area, we have a large number of people here in the last 10, 15 years who have gone to school there. And I would imagine they kind of feel like, yeah, we knew it was coming. We knew the rug would get pulled out from under us. And you had this great run. But I would imagine a large number of Ole Miss fans just couldn't sleep last night, whether because they feel like they got screwed on a no call and the Hail Mary, or they feel like they blew it when they had a chance to stop that team and Carson Beck goes down the field 2 different times to beat them.
I'd like to do some crowdsourcing.
I'm in the crowdsourcing industry in the Fisher Window and Door Store, 8 o'clock hour.
Who are the nitwits that set up the transfer portal schedule so that it's okay for players to transfer away from their teams during the playoffs and sign with another university? Who thought this timing might work out just right?
I think it all goes back to
possibly botch it this badly.
It all goes back to semesters and starting school. They have to do it by a certain time so that they can enroll in school by a certain semester.
But we are living in a weird time where the NCAA sets certain standards, and yet everybody says they're a joke. They have no real authority, and yet they still dictate some of the terms. Isn't that strange?
Yeah, it's odd.
It would have been great to see Austin Simmons come into the game and like play really well, and Ole Miss fans, oh, wow. Oh, he's going to Mizzou.
Yeah, maybe with a Missouri helmet on.
Or if he played poorly, the Mizzou fans are, oh, boy.
Yeah.
What do we spend our money on? Oh, boy.
It seems like college football now needs a commissioner of common sense to step in and just kind of fix all these things that have really bastardized the whole system.
And I in a utopia, I agree with that. The issue is, unlike baseball, where the National League West doesn't have separate desires and or revenue from the National League Central, in college football, of the 130 so teams that had a goal of getting to either Glendale or Atlanta for these semifinal teams, and of course only 4 did, the Big Ten and the SEC have different goals and different contracts for television than the Big 12 and the ACC. And since the Big Ten and the SEC call the shots, a commissioner can't come in and have them all play by the same rules. That's the part that is the immovable object at this moment. But I agree with you, Doug, in the sense that, man, would I much rather have that than what we currently have.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to fix. Yep. I'm not sure they will.
And there was a time, didn't Trump appoint Saban to clean up college football? There was some kind of commission. And I think Saban has since said that they didn't really do anything. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, Nick Saban was appointed.
By the president?
Yes.
He's always said he has no issue, and Miss Terry, Doug, you know Miss Terry, would not allow him to do anything.
All right, let's see.
I got you, Martin. May of 2025, he appointed him co-chairman of a new presidential commission on college athletics.
And then what happened?
Nothing.
He had too many commercials to shoot.
But that was the idea, I guess, that they were going to fix college football, college athletics, even larger umbrella. And I don't know. I think Saban commented on it that he hadn't done anything. He's got a lot on his plate.
Mm-hmm.
Heard him swear again last night. I'm like,
he did?
Well, it was the ASS word, so it was not appalling, Doug. But
yeah.
I think that one is approved by the FCC, but if you add whole to it, then it becomes a problem. You can say damn, but then if you add a deity to it, now you got yourself an FCC regulation.
Yes, you do.
These are the rules that we try to abide by here on terrestrial radio in 2026.
Yeah.
Joey Vitale will attempt to abide by those rules when he joins us coming up at 8:15. Joey with his traditional Friday hit on the program. We'll see if he has any conspiracy theories from Wednesday night in Chicago. He's up early in the morning in Salt Lake City. But do you think he's been up already for 4 hours making bread in his hotel room?
Well, that's what he does at home, is make that bread.
Yeah. Maybe
I guess you could bring
easy bake oven on the road.
Yeah, he probably brings a healthy supply of yeast.
Doug, you've been to Salt Lake? I think we talked about this. Maybe an NCAA tournament sounds like.
I think that lake is scary. I think that lake is scary.
Well, why are you covering your eyes like that?
Because that's what you do when you think something's scary. I mean, it's calm.
A little too calm.
Yeah.
They used to say you can't drown in it because the salt will pop you back up. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure someone's drowned in salt.
Hey, Joey, go jump in the lake. Let us know how it goes.
Test the theory.
Michelob Ultra is the sponsor of the YouTube chat. 243 friends are in there. Chairman Kurt's in there talking to the Nipper School Monitor, Harry Hogg, Thrill Fan 22, STL, Walrus King, Big Blonde Dan, and Kitty Bates. They're all in there. YouTube.com/TMAST. Michelob Ultra, 95 calories, only 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. Longtime sponsor of The Morning After and sponsor specifically of our YouTube chat. Join in. 6,430 subscribers subscribe to the TMA STL YouTube channel. Michelob Ultra sponsor of the YouTube chat. Joey Vitale coming up next. It's the Fisher Window and Door Store 8 o'clock hour on The Morning After. 101 ESPN, TMA STL YouTube channel.
Joe Vitale here, 636-782-3608 for Hofer Door Company. That's the garage door company that's out there and going to take care of all your garage door needs. I know Jason, he's a heck of a guy. He's taking care of my family personally. They're a big enough company that can spread all their wings outside St. Louis County area, but small enough where they will give you the personal touch that you deserve. So any garage door needs, give them a call, 636-782-3608. You can also check them out online at SchaeferDoorCompany.com. Schaefer Door Company is a Cool Pay Master, authorized dealer.
Doug, when you hear Florence and the Machine, what do you think of?
I think I've never heard the song before, but I kind of like it.
I'm pretty sure you've heard it.
Because we play it every Friday.
Play it every Friday.
Oh, well, I may not have been listening.
Wow, Joey Vitale is going to be furious with you. It's TMA 101 ESPN, Fisher Window and Door Store, 8 o'clock hour. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Jackson Burkett is on the ones and twos. You can watch the show at youtube.com/TMASTL. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock on the Stiefel dossier. And at 9:45, the Design Air Heating and Cooling email day, a $10,000 HVAC system from Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling on the line for the winner of the Emailer of the Month. All the rules up at TMASTL.com. It is our pleasure to welcome to the program, live from Salt Lake City, where the St. Louis Blues will take on the Utah Mammoth tonight. Pregame here on 101 ESPN at 7 p.m. Puck drop at 8 p.m. The man who will be on the call, friend of the program, Joey Vitale. Morning, Joey.
Tim, good morning. Morning to all you great fellas. Certainly missed you over break. Hopefully it was a great break for you all.
Look at this.
Wow,
what a wonderful sentiment. What a holiday
Wonderful.
sentiment.
I got to say, it sounded a little AI generated. Was that real? Is this Joey?
Of course it's me. Marty, it's a new year. It's a new me.
You sound a little stern. Is that fair? Are you a little intense today?
No, I'm a little under the weather.
Okay.
I do have I got a little bit of I've had a bug for a little while and messing with the vocal cords a little bit, but you ain't gonna stop me. I'm a hockey guy. I'll be just fine.
Nice.
For sure.
Okay.
Way to go, buddy. Can I ask a question in the open, which is sort of a montage of Joey isms? When you said, "Okay, crazy man," do you remember who was on the receiving end of that?
That's a great question. I don't. I feel like I say that once a day.
Okay.
I think it was a health teacher of some sort.
Oh, really? So referencing back to an incident. It wasn't like on the air telling Doug, "Okay, crazy man."
No, I think it was telling a story.
Oh, you know what? If it was all in the same one about the human anatomy of how babies are born, was it all the same conversation?
That's accurate, Joe.
Okay, that was Bob Shannon. That was definitely Bob Shannon. Yeah.
The thing about it, Vitale, you got to understand. Yeah, he was a loud talker, great football coach. He could scream at people really loud.
Gosh, he was intimidating. I think he was only probably 6'3", but he looked like he was 6'8". He had that big gap in his teeth, and we talked about it. But CBC, relatively privileged gentlemen, show up at CBC. Not quite as privileged as SLU, but we show up and he was from East St. Louis. He coached some state championship teams there, and it was a whirlwind with Bobby. And he used the weight training class to get. That's how he coached, because he was the weight training school teacher. But we would spend the whole class just basically going through film while other kids were just messing around in the corner, jumping rope. And then that's when he gave us like the process, like football is a process, and he talks about. Like the fertilization, it takes 10 months, and we're all just like 15 years old. I have no idea what he's talking about. So that, to answer your question, was, I believe, from that moment.
The great Bob Shannon. There at the time, he had two quarterbacks. They were both the sons of Jim Otis, the great football Cardinal. Fullback. And so one was starting, one wasn't. There, obviously one's a junior, one's a senior. And I'm interviewing him at Forest Park about what's it like having these two kids. Well, the thing about the older one, he don't have a heart. The young, I said, Bob, they're right there. Like, I felt awkward because they were 5 feet away, and he is breaking down who had more heart. So, anyway, carry on with you. I'm sorry to hear you're under the weather, but I know you will fight on because that's what you do.
Yes, in good Bob Shannon wisdom, I'm gonna gut this one out for old Bob because I want to prove to him that I still have heart.
You don't have heart.
Well, meanwhile, we're still trying to figure out what happened the other night with the goalie coming in. Is he not going to come in? Is the goalie ready? There's no place to sit on the bench. Did that all get straightened out so that you understand it and can help us understand it more?
Yeah, I do. Curbs and I were on the call and on the radio side, and because TNT took over, and we saw it kind of happen. And then right when that goal went in, whenever goals go in, especially late. Like one of the habits that Joe Micheletti taught me is, always look to the coach because that coach is going to tell you he's going to be the first one to make the call. Goal one, goal two, you're like, nah, not. If it's a bad goal one, bad goal two, then look at the coach. But if it's a 4, 5, 6 goal affair, you need to start going right to the coach every time that puck goes in because he's probably going to make a switch. So I got to give a little love to Joey Mick, one of my favorites, for that one, and I continue to do that. And that 6th goal, I think it was the 7th goal or 6th goal, I can't remember which one went in. So I went right to Jim Montgomery, and he had a little quick combo to one of the assistant coaches, and then he looks back down the glass, which is the hallway there, and of course behind the bench, and he kind of waves for Joel to come in. And I say, yeah, they're going to make a coaching, or you're making a goalie change. Excuse me. And Curb's like, yep, we're going to see a goalie change, and he kind of waved to Bennington, and then he kept looking over his shoulder, and no one was coming. And then, of course, they sent the trainer down to get him. And, so the thing to understand about United Center, because it is important to understand, it is, I believe, the only arena, I have to fact-check this, I'm 99% sure, the only arena where the backup goalies are not, either on the bench or they're not watching the game live. So there's about 4 or 5 buildings where they're not on the bench, but they're at like the entrance on the other side. Carolina, Winnipeg, Montreal. There's just not enough room. So they put them across the arena, but they're still on like a lawn chair and they're watching the game. So in those situations, the goalie's in full equipment all the time. So with the United Center, you're kind of tucked away in the locker room and you're not watching the game. So that's kind of important because Joel Hofer's back there. And from what I understood, full equipment period 1, full equipment period 2. And as the game's winding down, it's like 6-7 minutes to go. So he kind of takes off, probably some of his equipment, I would imagine. And not all of it, but some of it because he thinks that, this game's going to be wrapped up here pretty soon. So the reality is he was in a situation where he was able to take off probably some equipment, being in that arena. Again, no excuses for Joel, but certainly there is important context there. So he wasn't ready. It was a tough look. Listen, it was a tough look, not only because you lost the game, but, Bennington's probably not in a great spot because he's trying to get pulled, but then he can't get pulled. Jim Montgomery's trying to pull him, and Jim Montgomery's pulling him why? Not because necessarily the poor play, but you got to get your starter out of there. I mean, two nights ago or the night before that game, Jacob Markstrom for the New Jersey Devils, he let 9 goals in. And Sheldon Keefe got so many questions, and the head coach got a lot of criticism for why did you not take your starting goaltender out? Because there is this kind of code of protecting your guy. When the team is not playing well, you got to get your guy out of there. It's just not a good place for your starter to be. So Jim Montgomery was simply pulling him out to just, be gracious, say, hey, come on, we got your back. And then Jordan couldn't even come out because Hofer wasn't ready to go. So I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to get sorted out today with the media. I would imagine Joel Hofer is going to be available. But that's the gist. So tough situation, tough game. Certainly not a good look where the team's got their stuff together. But to wrap it all up, it was a situation where a backup goaltender in Joel Hofer simply was just not dressed and fully ready to go to come in the game. And that's who you got to put it on. And that's just the reality. I think Joel's going to take it on the chin in the same way. But at the same time, too, remember, these are human beings, and I totally understand where Joel was coming from a lot of this stuff because of the context that they're out there. It is still his responsibility. There's no excuses. But it's a mistake. He's an honest kid. He's a great kid. I'm sure everyone's going to learn and grow from it.
Do you think Monty would berate him and be mad about it, or would they? Is it like it's wacky and silly to a lot of us on the outside, but it's pretty serious if you're running a team? Do you think he gets a good scolding for that?
No, I'll be honest with you, Marty. I'm not going to go into details because of, I respect Monty and I respect the situation, but I was around Monty and Hofer a little bit yesterday. I'll just leave it at this. Jim Montgomery's okay. Joel is great. They've worked it out. They've ironed it out. They're pros. They're great people. Like I said, it's an honest mistake from a young kid. And Jim's just not a guy that wears this stuff. That's what makes him so great. That's what makes him have so much longevity. He's going to coach a long time in this league because, there's so many ups and downs and bumps and bruises in the league throughout the longevity of the season. And, he's just a guy that he takes things personally, but then he moves on quickly too. So it's a great personality trait for Jim. And certainly this is exactly how he's taken this one.
The thing that's confusing is that shot we saw of Hofer with his helmet on, peeking around the corner. Where would he have been at that point?
So, again, thank you for bringing that up. It's really important context here. So right when we saw that replay as well, and we're trying to figure out that as well, because the way social media has now edited it is one of Jim's trying to ask for him to come out. And then moments later, you see the next clip of him just peeking around the corner. So everyone's thinking, why is he hiding around the corner and why is he not coming out? But again, context is important, and this is the world we're living in, and why editing matters, and it's important to get the truth out. So during the game live, Joel was in the locker room, and he just simply wasn't ready to go. That's a fact. Okay, so the game continues. They drop the puck, and they're moving on. Right, the next TV timeout, they have a cameraman, TNT has a cameraman, and then they shoot that angle down the hallway, which is completely fine, by the way. Marty, you know this, because you're allowed to shoot the hallway, right? We have jurisdictions, cameramen, all the production companies have jurisdiction of the hallway, and they have a really nice camera, and then they shoot Joel. So this is 5, 6, 7 minutes later, Doug, where he finally was prepared, ready, got the rest of his equipment on, and then he was peeking around the corner to see if Jim Montgomery still wanted him to come out. So that's kind of why that happened that way. So for fans that are watching it and thinking that he was peeking around the corner and right when Jim Montgomery made the change, it's not right. It's not accurate. This happened a while later, and that's where a lot of the confusion has probably surfaced. So again, I imagine that once it all continues to get cleared away as far as the details, because details do matter here, this is something that's going to blow right over.
Joey Vitale with us here on TMA 101 ESPN. Let's talk about the team and the status of where things are as they head into this back-to-back starting tonight. Where you are in Salt Lake City, and then you boys head to Las Vegas. This was an opportunity, if it was going to get going, to capitalize on taking on a Blackhawks team that, if I'm not mistaken, Joey, you were blunt in your assessment when I was listening to you guys. That you weren't facing the A team, so to speak, of the Blackhawks on Wednesday night. You're coming off the wins against Vegas and Montreal, get 3 in a row. The wild card spot in the Western Conference is as wide open as it could possibly be mathematically. And instead, not only do you get stomped on, once again, your key players were not a part of the scoring. And that has just been the story for the Blues throughout the course of this season. That was a specific disappointing game, I think, for a number of fans. Doug, I think you were saying this was big for you in your perspective of it. I heard Anthony Stalter talking about it yesterday on the Fast Line, that was a big moment for his belief as well. How did you assess it when you have that opportunity and then you get that kind of performance on Wednesday?
Yeah, Tim, that's exactly right. I mean, you won 2 in a row on that homestand there, that quick one, back to back, and not just the way you beat Vegas and Montreal, but the way you beat them. I mean, that's important too. General managers talk a lot about, are we winning games or are we winning games? Like, because you can win a game but lose the game, or you can lose a game but win the game, if you know what I mean. And what they're trying to say is, like, winning the game and actually winning, like, the way you're playing, like, there was no doubt. That Vegas game, there was no doubt they were going to win that game. Robert Thomas shut down the Eichel line. Defensively, great. Offensively, 3 out of their 4 goals were right at the offensive net. Jim Montgomery talked about how that was the best game they had played with the presence at the offensive net. The next night, Montreal coming to town. Again, a very good team in the Eastern Conference. What does Robert Thomas do again? Shuts down the Suzuki line completely, right? And then gets a great shorthanded goal. And then Jim Montgomery talks about how that was maybe one of their best games on the defensive side. We showed so many clips on that third period. I went back and watched the broadcast again. So many clips of we still shots. We telestrated it, bodies in the middle, pucks in the middle. I mean, it was just the way they won those two games. You just felt like, boy, this team is really coming. We didn't win these games because we had a great goaltender. We didn't win these games because we got a great call at the end. We won these games because we won these games. So you're like, man, something's coming here. And then you come to Chicago, and you're starting this 3-game road trip. Any player, any coach will tell you that a 3-game, 4-game road trip, that first game is so important. You got to start with a couple points because that really creates so much momentum. You get to Chicago, Tim, you see that, Connor Bedard's, I was there at the United Center for the morning skate. Connor Bedard's taking morning skate. You're thinking, is he going to play? Turns out he did not play. Nazar, another one of their top offensive guys, not in the lineup. This was a banged-up lineup for Chicago that was missing 2 of their superstars. And, this is a team that the Blues over the last 5-6 years have had. We've had our way with them, especially in Chicago. And you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a perfect setup. You're going with Jordan Binnington, perfect setup to get this road trip going. And after a great first period, you're locked up at 1. The second period, it just took over again. And you're like, man, this group cannot figure it out. I think that we got outscored 4-1, I believe, in that second period. A couple goals I think Jordan Binnington would like to have back. A couple were just, violent tips right in front where Chicago give them a ton of credit. They get low to high and they get bodies there, and they got some very fortunate tips. But anyway, you move on to that third period, and you're behind the 8 ball once again, and they just couldn't recover. So you wrap up that game, and you're thinking like, geez, that was a deflating one because you felt so much momentum, so much steam going in the right direction, and you just didn't have it. And then you look at the score sheet at the end of the night, and you have, Tyler Tucker, who's a bottom pair defender, on the board. You look at Otto Stenberg in his first NHL goal. He's on the board. And then you look at the fourth-line winger of Nathan Walker in his first game back after a long-time injury. He's on the board. So I think outside of maybe Braden Shen had an assist, I think he was the only player in the top 6 with a point. I have to fact-check that. But it kind of goes to show you, once again, this kind of alarming thing that the offensive guys have just not been there. And I'm going to say this consistently. That's the issue. They've had some games, like I said, Robert Thomas, 2 games prior to that, or maybe his best 2 games of the season in my mind. But you're not having that consistency. We talked to Doug Armstrong a few games back on the broadcast during the second period, and he said that. He said it's not that we don't have the guys. It's not that we don't have the those top guys going. It's just we're just not seeing it consistently. You'll have it 1 period, then 2 periods off. You'll have it 1 game, then you miss a game. You look at Colorado. I know this is a very crazy example, and I'll wrap it up with this. But the Colorado Avalanche, they win last night 8-2 versus the Ottawa Senators. And again, this is a high bar, but this is just a perfect example. Every time the Colorado Avalanche win, you look at the ticker, McKernan, Makar, Nichushkin, Natchez, Landeskog. Like it's just you're going to see their names, right? And this Blues team with the core of top offensive guys we have, we're just not seeing it consistently like some of the best teams in the league, and that's really burned them lately.
Joey Vitale will be on the call of the Blues at Mammoth tonight here on 101 ESPN. Pregame 7 p.m., puck drop 8 p.m. And then Blues and the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow. Pregame 8 p.m., puck drop 9 p.m. Joey, we hope you feel better. Get well, man. I know it's going to be tough with back-to-back games, but best wishes on getting healthy and back to St. Louis, brother.
I'm going to be great. You guys keep being great as well.
Oh, my gosh.
Great talking to you. You guys, great talking again. You guys always. This is my favorite 15. I wish it'd be longer. I wish we could do an hour.
Why don't you go jump in that Salt Lake because maybe it's got some healing powers.
Yeah, I might do that. I went skiing here last year. I'll never go skiing again. Skiing is so dumb. I don't know how people go skiing. It's ridiculous. We went down the mountain once and we went down twice. I'm like, what are you doing now? He's like, we're going to keep going. I'm like, it's the same hill. He's like, yeah, we do it all day long. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. And I had great company, but I got to get out of here. So I hopped on an Uber and I came back.
Wow. Enough of the skiing.
Anti-skiing.
Back to the Salt Lake. Yeah, anti-skiing, anti-golf. This guy's a meat and potatoes guy. Mm-hmm. He ain't going to do that.
Home, go to work, spend time with your kids and your wife, and then let's just get out of this world.
Let's just get out of this world. Joey
Took a dark turn.
With us here. Always appreciate it, brother. Thanks, Joey.
He's on his way to the lake.
Smothered there at the end. We'll have to
I forgot about that. Yeah, he's anti-golf, anti-skiing.
He's a lunch pail guy.
I think anything that you have to put in too much time, he'll say, it's just, you're spending a lot of time to invest into that particular sport.
Skiing's no fun at all until you figure out how to stop. And then it's a lot of fun. Then it's great.
It is a lot of work, though, to get set up and get the boots and you get going. And then it's like, hey, let's just go to the chalet, Doug, and have a couple drinks.
Dude, we get it. You work out, guy.
How about that? We got the drops of the week coming up. Plus, Rob Manfred has some ideas on baseball. Oh, Martin, you're aware of them.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to share them with the audience. Oh, boy. That is coming up next year on TMA 101 ESPN.
I see it. The man is hitting the button. I see it.
My machine wasn't working.
Okay.
Doug just texted me, a good carpenter never blames his tools.
It's always your own guys.
It is. I mean, he texts us to Tim, doesn't have the...
Yeah, I didn't want you to
know people who did that.
The stones to put it on wax.
People who texted on a show about the other hosts?
Yeah, it happens.
Wow.
Yeah, probably won't say it out loud, but it's been known to happen. Yeah.
Wow, that's really...
And it's not me and Papers talking about you two over there.
I was literally just about to text Tim, Martin sucks.
Text line beat you to it.
TMA 101 ESPN shows presented to you by Brown & Crouppen. Brown & Crouppen online at getbc.com or by calling 314-222-2222. Presenting sponsor of this program going back now to 2023. Great to have them on board here in 2026. They are local, and that is why you can hear them in studio with us on Tuesdays. And if you are in the market for a personal injury attorney, don't you want somebody who is local, who knows the legal environment? Well, that's Brown & Crouppen, founded in St. Louis in 1979, and they built new offices on the Hill with their commitment to the St. Louis area. Presenting sponsor of the morning after, Brown & Crouppen, online at getbc.com or by calling 314-222-2222. Brown & Crouppen. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. In the previous segment, we talked it over with Joey Vitale. You can always go back and podcast via the Schaefer Door Company podcast app. That's TMASTL or the 101 ESPN app. And you can always podcast also by just watching the show on YouTube. TMA STL channel on YouTube. Subscribe to it, and all the nonsense is there for you whenever you want it. Gabe DeArmond coming up at 9 o'clock. It is Friday. It is the 8 o'clock hour, and that means it's time for our drops of the week.
Okay.
Morning after.
Drops of the week.
Yeah, you gotta drop it like a hot dog.
It's a wonderful drop.
Indeed it is.
Put that off. Put that off. Put that off. Put that off.
Flip that off.
6-7.
Your lack of faith is disappointing.
So everybody needs to shut the hell up about him.
Where were these boys?
I like sausage as much as the next guy.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. That is sensational.
There's some beautiful houses in Fenton.
Really?
Okay.
Was I in a bondage cage?
Question was, if you're going to take a gentleman's trousers down and he has a landing strap, would it freak you out a little bit? I'm reading it as it's spelled.
Okay.
Hello, Vivian.
Bob Condor was a ride.
I mean, somebody's got to be on this team.
What would a grumpy cornhole look like?
Why do you care so much about my life?
I'm going to smash lunch.
I can taste the Doritos and the Fritos.
King Martin, do you like a good kielbasa?
I've never had a thirst for drops.
That was Drops of the Week.
Doug, the drops of the week have been submitted, and you never had a thirst for kielbasa?
Well, that was the question was to Martin, I believe.
I had a good kielbasa. Doug had no thirst for drops, but I think what Papers did there, they weren't just randomly thrown in. There was a reason, there was a methodology, there was a theme. One played off of the next. Excellent job.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a 94.
Nice.
94
Nice.
is the score. Well, what would you give to Rob Manfred, Doug? Because he has ideas for the game of baseball.
Right.
Now, he tells you that it's incredibly healthy, but he's got ideas to completely change the game.
Okay.
Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred said he is considering a major shakeup to the league's schedule, including the possibility of a split season or an in-season competition similar to the NBA's Cup. We've talked about split seasons. We've talked about an in-season tournament, Manfred said Thursday on WFAN. We do understand that 162 games is a long pull. I think the difficulty to accomplish those sort of in-season events, you almost inevitably start talking about fewer regular season games. It is a much more complicated thing in our sport than it is in other sports because of all of our season-long records. You're playing around with something that people care a lot about. It goes on to say that whether players would go for such a format change would also be a key factor. The MLBPA declined to comment. One vision Manfred does not have at the moment: a world where the Mets and Yankees end up in the same division. Manfred has discussed his desire to add 2 expansion teams for years, bringing the league total to 32 clubs. From there, he has long said he wants to realign the sport geographically into 8 divisions of 4 teams. Manfred said on Thursday on WFAN that markets that have multiple major league teams, Chicago, New York, L.A., should not have both teams in the same division. Quote, I think you would try to keep the 2-team cities separate. That would be my thinking. Manfred added that much still needs to be done to get to that point. That includes awarding the new franchises, which he has said in the past he hopes to accomplish by the time his contract expires, which is January 2029. You'd realign, and you would do it along geographic lines, which could alleviate a ton of the travel burden that's on players. Remember, we ask our players to play 162 times in 186 days. You can eliminate a lot of that travel and make it less burdensome, which would be a great thing in terms of player health and safety. The postseason schedule would also benefit, Manfred said. Quote, we have those 4 window days that I love, Manfred said, of the early rounds of the MLB playoffs. You get 4 baseball games in a day. It's awesome. But when you think about the fans in the individual markets, you always end up with, because of the way we're set up, you get Boston versus Anaheim in one of the early rounds. So you're either going to be too late in the day for the fans in Boston or too early. If you realign geographically, you'd look more like other sports where you play up east into the World Series and you play west into the World Series, and that 10 o'clock game on the East Coast that sometimes is a problem for us becomes a primetime game on the West Coast for the 2 teams that are playing. So there are advantages to it. So that is Rob Manfred's vision, Doug, possibly splitting the seasons, having a tournament, and having 8 4-team divisions.
Well, he's bull goose loony. Aren't the divisions already aligned geographically? And to say that the teams that are in the same city, we're going to separate them. So the one thing that would make it easier on travel, you're not going to do.
That's right.
The divisions are already realigned graphically. It's not perfect. Tampa's not very close to New York and Boston, Baltimore, but there's just so many teams to go around. It's never going to line up perfectly, so where every team in the division is just 100 miles away from the next team. They're always going to have to get on airplanes. I don't think that's what you need to worry about at all. There's one major problem, and that is the great disparity of revenue from one team to the next.
How about a tournament, though?
A tournament? Who cares? No one's going to care about winning a tournament. They want to win the World Series.
That's my main question. There's a million issues to get to. There's a million problems. A lot of them are TV related, where there's just blackouts everywhere. And now the impending lockout, but he wants to have an in-season tournament. Like, what? and even splitting the season, I need to know, what does that mean? So they just take off?
I did that in
June.
Was that in 1981?
Yeah, it's called a strike, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. The Cardinals, I think they
had the best record
they
in the
never
National
won.
League, but they didn't win one of the split seasons. That's right.
But can he explain that? What
would you play 2 World Series? You play for 3 months, and then you play a World Series and do it again and play for another one?
And he just wants to have an East and West. And one thing you cannot do, you don't want to be a dinosaur. You always want to be thinking ahead, have some ideas, be bold. I get it. You got to call it the American and National League. You just can't say, it's the Eastern Conference.
Doug calls it the junior and senior circuit.
I don't ever say that. It's okay now. It's just that some teams are making hundreds of millions of dollars and some teams are losing. And so you got some markets that can afford to play or to pay whatever they want for player salaries, and other markets dying on the vine.
Hey, man, for other sports don't have playoff games on a Tuesday at 1 p.m. It's from the 618. Papers, you are our youthful representative on this program. Doug, 27 years old. He's a bachelor. All the ladies love his style.
That's right.
What do you think about what Rob Manfred's talking about?
I mean, I am personally always on board for the in-season tournament kind of idea.
He loves the tournament, Doug.
I think, like you can
incel,
whatever. You can joke and judge about like the NBA's in-season tournament, but if you actually watch the game and come at things with a somewhat open mind, like the game is better. Like the actual games that are played, especially around the quarter or semifinals, are more interesting than a regular season game. It doesn't add regular season games. It just turns some regular season games into in-season tournament games. It's worked in European soccer like crazy. I think it can work in American sports. I think it's already working for the NBA. The split season and the Eastern-Western Conference thing, I'm not on board with. Some of the best parts about baseball are its traditions. So the American League and National League, I absolutely think need to stay. I think the divisions are the least of Major League Baseball's problems, but I think if you are trying to innovate, something like an in-season tournament is, I think you're going in the right direction. That's just my take. People likely disagree with it. I understand that, but that's where I feel.
I just think there's so many pressing issues, and the economic disparity is the major topic. And you got a guy sitting there and say, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start using an orange ball. And like, wait a minute, that's not the big issue right now. In-season tournament, I'd probably say I could live without it, but it doesn't, to me, that's not a big deal. Splitting the season sounds stupid. I probably need to know a little more of what he's proposing. But I agree with Doug. If you look at the division alignment right now, it largely makes sense.
All but a couple teams that don't fit
there's
neatly
always
into a
going to be
division.
some exceptions. They're going to try and expand as well. They're going to add 2 teams. I think Orlando's got a big movement. Nashville has had a movement. Portland wants in.
Salt Lake,
Joey V's spot. Yeah. You probably need another team out west for some of this travel to sort itself out. I mean, if you're Seattle, you're constantly going a long way. But then again, they used to get on trains, and go for a ride to play a ball game. And now you get $10 million to be a crappy reliever, and you get on a charter plane to go to the Ritz. I get it's not perfect. It's okay though.
For teams like Seattle, Miami, San Diego, Boston, you're just going to be traveling.
Correct.
You just are. And if you don't like it, then you don't have a franchise. It's a big country, and you're going to have to get on an airplane if you're going to play for these teams. You just are. There's no way to fix that.
No one, and I mean no one, cares about in-season tournaments. I'd rather listen to a Jason Schwartzman filmography episode of Movie Boy.
Oh, when are we doing that?
Than watch any more Mickey Mouse Cup games that aren't an actual championship. That's from Carlos Spicy Wiener. He has one win in the Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Month.
I mean, people joke, and I love Carlos Spicy Wiener, but the ratings are better for the NBA Cup games than when you compare them to regular season games in the same time frame from years prior.
That was it the Spurs and Knicks who played for the NBA Cup?
I think the difference is starting pitching is so important in baseball that are you going to bring a starting pitcher up? Are you going to risk an injury by pitching him on short rest to try to win a tournament game when it might affect you for winning the World Series prize down the road?
Yeah, these are all
NBA guys can play every night, every game they play.
These are all kinks that would have to be worked out for sure. I just think if you're playing 162 regular season games, turning maybe 28 of them for each team into a tournament, if you're doing if you're doing a series kind of way of going about it, I think could be cool. I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I mean, MLB regular season games in mid-June between the Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays is just not interesting for the people at large. But if it's a quarterfinal game of an in-season tournament, maybe it would be. Maybe it wouldn't.
Possibly.
But you got trying something and trying to innovate is how you stay in front of the game as opposed to always being behind it, which Major League Baseball has been for the last decade.
But I think the big reason they're behind it is because of the great disparity in the economic fortunes of the teams.
I think that's part of it. I think general interest across the country is also in decline, especially for people in my age group, especially for out-of-market teams.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this would revolutionize it, but it could help.
It's certainly in decline for a city like ours where our team hasn't been any good for the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know that you would say fan interest is down in New York and Philadelphia and Chicago.
I'm
and
talking
LA.
about the nation at large.
Yeah, but my point is, if you got a good team, there's a lot of interest. If you got a bad team, there's not much interest.
For sure.
And baseball, I think, is probably the only sport where weather is a real factor in how long they can play. Everyone else is either playing indoors or it's football or soccer, and you can play it outdoor in bad weather. But if you expand that baseball season much beyond where it is now, you could be playing in snow in half these cities. So you're going to have to get it wrapped up. I don't think you can expand at all the amount of time you're going to get through a season.
Yeah.
MLB's dying. That's from Joey Vitale's Orange Scully.
I mean, somebody's got to be on this team.
Again, I think it's easy to come to that conclusion here, where our interest level has plummeted in recent years. But if you had a good team, I don't think that that's necessarily the case.
You don't think Dodger fans today are saying the game is dying?
No, not
Philly
at all.
fans are not saying the game is dying.
No, they're excited in Toronto and Cleveland and Detroit again when their team got pretty good this year. Boston always sells out the building. It's kind of a matter of how good your team is. In most cases.
Doug, the Bears and Packers might have snow at their game. Should they have a dome in Chicago?
I bet they wish they did.
No.
I bet the fans do.
Come on.
Wouldn't you? If a fan, wouldn't you rather sit in 72 degrees and 7 degrees and cold and wind and snow and sleet? Wouldn't you rather be
There's
comfortable?
something about it, Doug. There's something about getting all layered up and just the elements, experiencing that. You put a dome at Lambeau Field, you would, wouldn't you? This guy.
Retractable, retractable.
But so if it snows, you close it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Then you don't have to beg the citizenry to come out and shovel the place.
They love it.
That Bills thing is weak.
Weak?
I bet you're mad as a horn.
Don't they
about
pay him
that.
$20 an hour?
Yeah. Wow.
Why is that weak? How else are they supposed to do it?
They have a crew that they can pay.
They don't have enough people.
You think it's a cheap pop?
Yeah, I absolutely think it's trying to get some cheap labor. That's exactly
It's
what
like
I think it is.
what, a 70,000 seat stadium? They don't have enough people to shovel.
They then hire some people and pay more than $20 an hour.
Or you're saying they're not getting paid enough?
Yeah, well, I think they would instead of paying the staff that they already have, which would be a lot more, they would pay this guy's $20 an hour.
So those people walking in for $20 an hour are taking jobs from the...
No, I don't think they're taking jobs. I think it's just the Bills trying to get some cheaper labor.
I think in Green Bay they used to be for free. Like you had the opportunity to come shovel.
Right. That's weird. I think it's weird. But if people are into it, who am I to judge?
I can't imagine how big a staff they would have if they didn't ask the public to help out. How many people they would have to shovel out that entire stadium.
Did you see they're auctioning off the bathroom troughs from Highmark Stadium?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What are they going for?
Didn't the Cardinals
I don't
do
think
that?
it's open yet.
Cardinals did that.
Cardinals sold the urinals.
Can I put in an opening bid?
Which I guess if you owned a pub down at South City, and you could say Cardinal urinals.
Yeah. Come Ween Peak at the trough. That'd not be a bad business. We could open, Doug.
I'm not in on that one.
J. Dot speaking like a true kingpin of the stadium seats snow shovelers union. That's from Dougie V's BBL. You're with the proletariats.
That's where I like to be. Yeah, pay them more. Pay these fans more. Give them free tickets. How about that?
Jackson clearly hasn't done manual labor. Do you know how long it would take, quote, a crew to shovel snow out of an entire stadium 2 days before a game? That's from one of the Time brothers. This one is Steven, not Ed.
I'm not really trying to dig in on this. This was just kind of an in-passing comment.
I didn't know it was going to be a Norma Ray moment. I thought you were talking about them promoting it in social media, like kind of like, look at us, aren't we just wholesome and kind of fun?
Yeah, that's all part of it. I don't ultimately, Bills and
you
Bills
haven't really workshop this too far.
Bills fans are so passionate, and
they probably love it. They probably would do it for free.
Well, I think they really love having their outdoor stadium that they really enjoy, even though it's in its closing moments.
If we had snow here in early April, would you go down to Busch Stadium and shovel Busch Stadium to help the Cardinals out for $20 an hour?
Probably not.
Oh.
But there are plenty of people who would. Hey, it'd be kind of fun. Why not?
What if it was $200,000 an hour? Would that be enough?
Yeah, that would get me to do it.
That's what it's just about the comp for him. I understand that. Jackson can't cut audio at Jimbo Fisher or whoever it was for Mr. Tim, and he certainly won't play any drops, but he sure can brew up some bad Bills football takes. Sheesh. Thanks, and Anyong. #FreePark26. That's Brian Henshin waiting for the Colts to get an at-large bid to the NFL playoffs.
Well, under Manford's new system, the Colts would get one. That's a new wild. Remember the golden at bat?
Yeah, that was silly.
Oh,
that's come and gone. This guy must just sit around and just spitball all day.
That's the thing is he comes up with these some of these ideas and their thoughts, but they don't actually come to fruition. So why does he say it out loud? It's like he's beta testing it, and it always comes back negative.
Oh God!
The golden at bat. You could use any player, but one time only. You could bring him back out there.
Why did he say that? If it, only say it if you're going to do it. Just throwing it's a group brainstorm is a bad idea.
Martin was on it at the beginning of the discussion. You have Rome burning, but you don't want to have accountability for the fact that Rome is burning, so you come up with asinine things that we talk about as opposed to the fact that the game is about to shut down for what might be its longest work stoppage in 3+ decades, and there's such economic disparity between teams that 3/4 of the league doesn't even compete for free agents in the offseason. So that's the gig. I really do think that that's the gig. Pay attention over here. Here's a bright, shiny object. How about a golden at bat? Well, that's really dumb, and we'll talk about that. Meanwhile, 3/4 of the league can't compete for the best players, and therefore remedied to just hoping that they can get into the wild card and go on a run in a best-of-3 series. It's asinine, so that's what I think it's about. Anyway, the Colonel's going to join us and give us his thoughts on the college football playoff and Missouri in the transfer portal and the Fighting Tigers, who will take on Ole Miss tomorrow in Oxford. This is the Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMASTL YouTube channel. Michael's has been family and locally owned for over 30 years, and Michael takes pride in helping and making sure that his employees are happy and making a great living. You can go online right now and get 3 free samples from Michael's and Proximity Mills by going to igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com. Michael's passion's flooring, and when you order from him, he wants you to have the best experience for the best price. Just come in or talk to him. You're going to see a difference at Michael's Flooring. They want to make sure they suggest the best thing for you and not just pushing what corporate is telling him they have too much of. There is a reason he's continued to grow through the 31 years. Employees love working for him as they feel like family, and he makes sure they're taken care of. And this then rubs off to the families buying the product as they know they have the best interest of the buyers at heart. They have it all, but Carpet's awesome and it's back. They have so many varieties of all flooring and have 3 easy-to-get-to locations in St. Louis. They are in Creve Coeur. They are in Dardenne Prairie. They are in St. Peters. Come see why people are loving getting floored by Michael, and make sure you visit igotfloored.com.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Tonight, more college football playoff action is another semifinal game. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl will be played tonight, 6:30 p.m. first kickoff. Oregon, Indiana taking place. Gabe DeArmond will have more on that on the other side of this commercial break. This is another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
They didn't know what to do in Lexington, Kentucky when they were playing this at Rupp Arena.
It frightened the Wildcats, I'm sure.
Led to a glorious victory. The Colonel joins us now here on TMA 101 ESPN. Gabe DeArmond of Power Mizzou, brought to you by James Carlton. Morning, Colonel.
What's up, guys?
What'd you think of last night, brother?
It was good. It was a fun game. I feel awful for Ole Miss fans.
Yeah,
like that was so close, and just couldn't. It's frustrating to see it end A, on a Carson Beck run, and B, like, I know you never get this call, but I mean, just fistfuls of jersey on that last play.
I like that, fistfuls of jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Specific to Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss, that was one hell of a comeback. I would have never seen that coming, with Miami getting after him in the first quarter, and really Miami dominating that game in the first half, but they only had that 4-point lead, and sure enough, Ole Miss was able to capitalize and eventually take the lead. And then that gets into the broader conversation on the SEC not being in the championship game. This will now be 3 straight years, Michigan, Washington. Then you had Ohio State and Notre Dame, and now this year it'll be one of the 2 Big Ten schools playing tonight, and Miami from the ACC. I know that a lot of the social media back and forth is just making, this is my conference, so I'm going to argue, but taking that element out of it, do you think that there has been a decline in the caliber of the SEC play over the last handful of years?
I think there has been a decline in the top of the SEC. I think in the past you had 3 or 4 teams in the SEC who could just stockpile talent, sometimes for no other reason other than keeping it away from other people. I mean, their second and third stringers were guys that would be starting elsewhere, and now those guys are entering the portal and going and starting elsewhere. And so you're seeing the playing field level out a little bit. Like Georgia and Alabama were the top 2 teams in this league, I guess, but I didn't think either one of them was great. Ole Miss's team last year was better than their team this year. The roster was better. They kicked away a game against Kentucky, lost one they probably shouldn't have lost to LSU, and didn't make the playoff. But Ole Miss fans will tell you last year was the year they thought they were going to make a run. This year was a huge surprise. So I think the top of the league is worse, but I think the top of every league is worse. I mean, if you take this Indiana team, this Oregon team, this Miami team, which, by the way, lost 2 games in the ACC somehow, and you compare it to 2022 Georgia, 2019 LSU, 2002, that Ohio State-Miami game, 1995 Nebraska, like, they're not even in the same stratosphere.
I think Damon Wilson's a good example. So at Georgia wasn't a star, goes to Mizzou, but if he stays at Georgia, so like the depth on some of these teams, too, is also being depleted.
No question. And so when guys miss because of injury or get kicked out because of targeting or whatever, they're not just automatically sliding another 5-star in there in his place.
And Mizzou picks up Austin Simmons, a transfer portal player. What's your reaction to that? Is this a guy that can lead him to better things?
I mean, he's played 250 snaps. I have no idea. It's another, let's wait and see till he actually plays. There's a lot of things to like about him, but I also understand anybody that looks at it and goes, cool, we're riding with another guy that hasn't really started games before. How should I feel about this? And understand if people are skeptical or don't love it. I don't know. We got to see him play games. I like that Drinkwitz went out and got a guy early, a guy that he clearly had targeted. I don't know if he was number one, but he was in his top group. So I think that's a good thing. But as far as whether he's a good player and they can put enough around him, I don't know. There's still a lot of holes on this roster right now.
Yeah, let's talk about the portal with the news this week. What is your impression of what Missouri has been able to bring in and those holes that you make reference to? What are they, and is there any news of some potential solutions?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's been, outside of Simmons and maybe Robert Woodyard Jr., who I think is pretty much a one-for-one Josiah Trotter replacement, like there haven't been the big names that fans wanted to see early on. I think some of those things could still happen, and I've already posted this like 3 times on our message board this morning. People have to understand Eli Drinkwitz is not calling me every day and saying, all right, here's what we're doing and here's who's coming in. Like, we are doing the best we can. We think we're doing the best job of anybody that's doing it around Missouri, but like there are things happening that we don't know about, right? They're recruiting guys that we don't know about that hasn't been out there publicly yet. So I think there could still be some maybe higher rated, bigger name guys out there. They need another receiver still. They'll take another running back, probably another offensive lineman, take probably 2 more corners, 2 or 3 defensive ends, a defensive tackle or 2. They still need a punter. So, we're halfway through, and I think they'll add at least 10 more guys.
Where do you think Matt Zoller stands with all this now? Does he just calmly go back and sit on the bench for another couple of years, or you think they might have trouble hanging on to him? I mean,
he'll sit. I think he's definitely not the starter next year unless he just makes this leap that, is over the offseason. He comes out and beats Austin Simmons out, which would surprise me. But I think he's the backup. Maybe even, I think they could still bring somebody in like a second-string type quarterback to compete with him, and maybe he takes a red shirt next year. And then it just depends on where you are going into 2027. I mean, if Austin Simmons is amazing and he goes pro, maybe Zoller starts. If, Austin Simmons is not great and either enters the portal or Zollers can beat him out, great. And sure, Zollers might transfer after next year. I mean, every single player in America is a free agent every single year.
I was a little concerned that Olugbade might look for bigger opportunity. I know he didn't put up huge numbers, but I think everybody sees the star potential. I feel like that was a huge retention.
Well, and that's one thing that I think Missouri fans are not paying enough attention to. Like, they just want to go out in the portal and get all these shiny new toys. Well, a good amount of your money just went to keep Ahmad Hardy here, and to keep Caden Green here, and to keep Donovan Olugbade here, and to keep Jamal Roberts here. I would argue those are your 4 best offensive players, and you kept them all. That didn't happen for free, right? It's similar to the conversation we had about Missouri basketball last year. Like, Ant Robinson and Mark Mitchell didn't come back for free. So, yeah, that might take a little bit of the money you would have had to spend in the portal. It's the... Like, fans hate when anybody leaves, but they also want to add everybody new, and you can't do it all. Unless you're Texas Tech, then you can.
Speaking of which, I mean, one of the best running backs in the country was on display last night and broke off the touchdown that put Ole Miss up early in the second quarter, and he was a member of the Missouri Tigers. Obviously, Missouri did just fine at running back this past season, and both those guys that you make reference to are coming back for next season. But just for backstory, because Kirk Herbstreit made reference to it, what was the set of circumstances with Kejuan Lacey in Columbia, and now you see him having the success that he's had at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew he was good. Like, it wasn't a situation where Missouri didn't think he was any good. He fumbled a couple times early, had a little bit of an injury. Missouri had 2 fifth-year seniors that were at running back, but I think Kejuan Lacey had every chance to be the starting running back this year, and Missouri had re-signed him to an agreement, to a deal to come back. And then the next day he went in the portal and went to Ole Miss. And I would assume there was a buyout there, right? Like, we're seeing the DeMond Williams thing out at Washington. Mm-hmm. Like, these things have happened before, right? Damon Wilson's getting sued by Georgia because he did the same thing to Georgia. He re-signed, and then he left and came to Missouri. And Keyjuan Lacey re-signed with Missouri, and then he left and he went to Ole Miss. And that was where most people thought he was going out of high school, and he switched at the last minute to Missouri, and you can figure out on your own why he might have done that. I'm sure it was the brotherhood and the facilities and all that convinced him to make that switch in high school. So ends up at Ole Miss, and Missouri ended up, I think that's one where I don't think Missouri fans have any ill will. Like, they got a great back. Ole Miss, it's worked out for Keyjuan Lacey. That's been fine for both sides.
How concerned is Drinkwitz that he might lose his kicker, Bobby Boots, Robert Meyer?
That he's been in the portal for a while. I don't think that he wasn't even the kicker in the bowl game or the Arkansas game, so I don't think that
not
is
a huge loss.
Much of a concern. Yeah.
Is there any question Blake Craig will be back next year?
No, he'll be fine. I mean, he tore his ACL, in the August 28th. I'm sure he'll be back. And, I've gotten a lot of, are we going again to get a backup kicker? No, who's going to sign knowing they're not going to play unless the kicker gets hurt, which happens once out of every, 500 times maybe?
Yeah, but it burned him this year not having somebody ready to go.
Yeah, but, I mean, what can you do? You're not going to get an experienced kicker to come here and know he's not the starting kicker.
Yeah.
Oliver Robbins at least kicked some this year, so theoretically would be better next year if Blake Craig somehow gets hurt again. But that's just a situation. It's kind of like, why do we not have a good fourth-string quarterback? I don't know. I can't remember the Indianapolis Colts guy that said it. It said, if 18 goes down, we're screwed, and we don't practice screwed. It just happens.
Yeah, they almost needed that fourth-string quarterback this year, too. And Indianapolis is signing 44-year-old quarterbacks.
Exactly. I mean, if you get to that point, it wasn't your year.
Yeah.
Colonel, Missouri's taking on Ole Miss. The basketball team now goes from looking like they are in a spot where the season is going nowhere after getting stomped by Illinois, and then back-to-back wins at home against Florida, and then they go on the road and they beat Kentucky. I was listening to your podcast, talking it over, that the tournament goes from something that it wasn't even on the radar, then it becomes okay, but maybe it becomes a hope. And then you broke it down by saying, okay, here's what can happen where it can actually become an expectation. And certainly Missouri has taken two of the first steps to do that by beating the defending national champions and beating a Kentucky team at Rupp Arena. Number one, what are those things for our audience who may not have heard you talk about it on your podcast? And then secondarily, what are the biggest changes that you've seen specifically against Notre Dame in the second half, but Kansas and Illinois in general, obviously two great teams, at least Illinois, and then what we've seen here against Florida and Kentucky?
Yeah, so I'm just glad that I always believed and never ended the season and never said that this team had no chance to go anywhere. That's, I think, been proven by everything I've written and said. You can go back and check the tapes on that, but I was always in their corner. I think the biggest thing that's changed is the health. I mean, Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce they don't win either one of these last two games without Stone and Pierce. I mean, there is no question. Those guys have been invaluable, and they have changed the team both offensively and defensively on the glass. I mean, Trent Pierce's tip-out rebound, to get Jaden Stone to the line was probably the biggest play in the Kentucky game. I think the other thing that, you kind of have to admit, Florida is a good team. They're a tournament team, a top 25 team. They're not what we thought they probably were before the season, and Kentucky's not even close. I mean, I don't think Kentucky's a tournament team. Had Missouri lost that game, I think you would have been really disappointed. You would have said, dude, if you're ever going to beat Kentucky, this is down there. This is when you do it. And so I think it was big that they got it done. I mean, I looked at the schedule beforehand, before the season, and said Florida, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, home against Auburn. You could be a good team looking at 0-4 in the SEC. And now Ole Miss isn't as good as we thought. Auburn isn't as good as we thought. I think you could be looking at 4-0 going to LSU, which would obviously be huge. I think from here on out, they've got to play 500 basketball to make the tournament. They go 8-8. That puts them 10-8 in the league, 20 and 11 or something like that overall. That'll get them in. Now, obviously, you'd like to to work on the seed and all that. But goal number one is just getting in, and I think that's what it takes. Is just go 1-1 every week from here on out, and you're in.
Missouri and Ole Miss, that is tomorrow. An opportunity to keep the momentum going from the wins last week against Florida and this past Wednesday against Kentucky. Colonel, who you got this evening? Do you have a strong feeling one way or the other on Indiana and Oregon?
You kind of got to go with Indiana, right? I mean, they haven't shown anything that tells me they're ready to get beat, which probably means they will get beat. But I mean, they already beat Oregon once. It just kind of feels like they're the best team. So let's go with that.
Colonel, I didn't realize Dan Lanning's a Kansas City guy. I think they're just
William Jewell guy.
Yeah.
William
Jewell.
Yeah, well, it's funny every year, like when it's like, hey, is Drinkwitz going to get another job, or should Drinkwitz be fired, or whatever it is? There's always a few people that are like, hey, Dan Lanning's a Kansas City guy. Maybe Missouri could hire the Oregon coach. Probably.
Give Phil Knight the middle finger and go to
Turned down Alabama last year, but yeah, I'm sure Missouri probably hire him.
Gabe DeArmond, you can read him at powermizzou.com. He's with us every Monday and Friday here on The Morning After, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Thank you, Colonel. Have a good weekend.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
See you, man. That's Gabe DeArmond with us here on TMA, brought to you by James Carlton. James Carlton is online at carltoninsurance.net or by calling 314-961-4800. He is my insurance agent, and he has been since 2019. He's a longtime TMA advertiser going back to 2017 with my podcast, and then with TMA starting in 2018. If you have not made the switch yet, here's what I would tell you. James has been coming on this show and advertising now for a good long while. This is the first time that we have heard him talk about saving money like he's talking about now with auto insurance. He has never seen rates decline like he has seen here over the last 6 to 7 weeks. It's an opportunity to really save money. It's worth making the phone call. Imagine one phone call saving you thousands of dollars. Why not take the time just to find out? Jamie Rivers did it. Brandon Kiley did it. They're now clients. You can do it as well by calling 314-961-4800 or going online at carltoninsurance.net. James Carlton. If your insurance costs a leg and an arm, call James Carlton, State Farm. Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Martin Kilcoyne with you. The Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day coming your way at 9:45 as someone will get a step closer to a $10,000 HVAC system from Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling. That's coming up at 9:45. This is TMA 101 ESPN.
Oh, my.
What do we have?
I don't know what we have here.
It's Joan Baez's birthday.
Oh.
Easy, just like, and then we've got Josh Baez. You and I were doing our Cardinal prospect rankings. At least 80. Is she older than Jimmy Plant or Roger Plant? Well, I'm sorry.
Jimmy Page.
Jimmy. No, who did we? Robert
Jimmy
Plant.
Page.
Robert
But
Plant.
It's Jimmy Page's birthday today.
I thought it was Robert Plant's.
No.
Oh, no wonder I guessed wrong. I thought you said Robert Plant. Joan Baez, 83.
Not bad. She's 85 today.
85.
Huh. Still
What in the blue hell is this crap? That's from Ray King, Doug. Have you met his wife? He's a
no. I've
short,
seen
heavy
pictures
gentleman
of
with
him.
beard.
I have seen
Wife
pictures.
loves the blues.
Looks like my buddy Gareth.
Does a little bit.
Is Gareth on this week? Movie boy.
No, Marshy.
Wow. Doug, well, you've been on the show.
I've been on, but I got cucked by Rafe on the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles episode. I think I'm going to be on another episode. We're going to break down the hunting wives again.
No, never again. I can't do it. But Parenthood, that's
so when do you tape these shows that you do?
And we missed out because I want to do a Wes Anderson episode with you.
Oh, okay.
But he had a movie come out last May, so I feel like we won't get another one.
I think
soon.
it'd have to be more body of work.
For sure. It wouldn't be about the new one. It'd be about the
a slow time in the cinema world
but
when that happens.
I want it to be somewhat timely.
This is about to be a busy time for you with all the awards coming up.
Yeah, big time.
I hope on the day you get to go in, Martin, your garage door opens up so you can get in there.
So.
If it doesn't, you would know who to call. That would be Schaefer Door. Oftentimes, garage doors break over the weekend. Not sure why that is, but that's when it happens many times. And so Schaefer has set up a special Monday morning standby service for doors that break over the weekend so you can get out and get your workday started. They service commercial doors as well. If you run a business or warehouse with big, tall doors, Schaefer is experienced in these types of jobs. Also, they service all kinds of garage door. Doesn't matter the make. They service and do new installs with LiftMaster. LiftMaster garage door openers are strong, quiet, and they are versatile. Schaefer is big enough to tackle any kind of job, small enough that when you call them, you'll talk to an actual person on the phone, and they'll get you taken care of. They'll send one of their service techs out to your house. Toot sweet, and they are not commission-based, so they're not going to try to sell you something that you don't need. Their website is schaeferdoor.com, and Schaefer, you want me to spell it? Here it is. Schaefer. Schaefer. Only one F in Schaefer. Only one. SchaeferDoor.com. Schaefer Door is a LiftMaster partner.
There it is. Mr. Licks has issued a statement because in the healthcare evolution 7 o'clock hour, a number of listeners were saying they saw him on the broadcast last night of Ole Miss's loss to Miami. And Mr. Licks says, I am sorry, I have not been able to call in. I know Martin is clamoring for it. I've been too busy. I have derivatives contracts to tend to. I will do my best next week to call in. Specifically need to give a huge shout out to the homeowners in Litzinger for their Christmas lights last year. That's from Mr.
They really were overlooked. I think that's an injustice that needs. I appreciate that, Licks.
So he will address the rumors that he was seen on the broadcast last night in his Ole Miss gear with a soy sauce stain on it.
Oh,
on the broadcast as Hottie Toddy, good gosh almighty, went down. I got a text earlier in the program that BK and Ferrario were breaking down what I should do with my Miami ticket. Jackson, did you happen to hear this? I'm not asking for audio.
No,
I didn't
hear it.
I didn't hear it. I know that some were saying just to let it ride. What I did do, Doug.
What'd you do?
Of the potential prize pool, Jackson has given me counsel that it's never good to actually talk about the dollars unless you are divorced and in Clayton. But in this particular instance, I hedged 11.7% of the potential prize pool on Ole Miss. But by the end of the game, because at the end of the game, Ole Miss was plus 2,000, I think it might have actually wound up being better for me if Ole Miss won because I kept firing these smaller bets because the payoff was 20x. And so when that ball was in the air, I think it might. It would have been more comfortable because now I actually have to bet on Oregon tonight because there's such a disparity between the price points. If Miami were to play Indiana and if they were to play Oregon, that's how big of a difference it is. Indiana is minus 230 right now if they were to play Miami on the money line. How about that? Minus 230. That is costly to hedge, whereas I was at a good spot because I could bet on a team that was getting plus money in Ole Miss. What I wound up doing, I talked with my wizard who was able to retire on daily fantasy in particular. He said, I would take Ole Miss in the 3 points, not to middle, but because you can get them at minus 102. And so therefore I'm not paying minus 115 or minus 20 for plus 3.5, which was what it was at some books. So that's what the route that I went. So Doug, 11.7% was hedged last night. I've been counseled by this gentleman who's been able to retire. Is he in Captiva or Sanibel? And that's the Fable Ticks?
I don't know.
They call them the Fable Ticks Island?
I don't call them that.
What's the equivalent of Fable Ticks to Lululemon?
Ooh, good question.
That would be let's say Lululemon's a Lexus and
it provides double access.
Lexus and
I meant in the pronunciation realm.
And Fabletics would be like a Buick.
Okay, I meant like in the mispronouncing game.
What?
If you go Fable Ticks instead of Fabletics, and now I'm looking at Lululemon.
Oh.
Can you workshop that with, like Chicago guy, hey, I got my wife, I got her some of the Limon, or,
Lululemon?
Lululemon. Okay.
I don't know. That's a good question.
That almost sounds too French, too fancy.
Yeah, it does.
We need
Now
something a little more
working class.
Farty-ish.
Yeah.
Hey, I got some of this Luli thing.
Lululemon.
Lucy's. They're calling it Lucy or something. I got some Lucy lemon pants.
Licks is lying. He is not in South Florida. He's vacationing in Gulf Shores. So the Jeffco Hoosiers think that's wintering in Florida. That's from Lady Sonia's Teacup.
Oh, God. That counts?
We had a conversation earlier about Gardettos and Chex Mix, and I want to give a shout out to Doug's prison wallet, who called Gardettos the caviar of St. Charles County.
You got called out for bagel chips. They said, papers, those are rye chips.
I couldn't be sorry.
But a bagel chip's awful tasty.
Oh, I like a bagel chip. A little cream cheese on there. Oh, wow.
I don't know that I've had bagels and a bagel chip and cream cheese.
Pretty good.
A bagel chip?
Yeah. It's like a very crispy, thin bagel piece.
Huh.
Yeah, they sell them in a bag.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Pretty tasty.
Licks is literally power washing my house right now. I told him no phones while he's up on the ladder. That's from Steven time. This guy's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. He's making a lot of money. I just hope he's claiming all that income. And if he's not, let me go ahead and give him Mark Milton's contact information. He'd be at stltaxlawyer.com today. Old Milty says you'd be surprised how many people just do not file taxes at all. They just say, well, they'll never come and catch me. The godforsaken tax man won't even miss me. Well, sooner or later, they do. They catch up with you. And if they do, you could have serious legal problems. Maybe you've got unfiled tax liens, bank levies, wage garnishments, or possibly facing an IRS criminal investigation. This is serious stuff. But you got a serious guy right here in St. Louis who can take care of that, and that is Mark Milton. He helps individuals and small businesses solve their tax problems. Used to work for the Department of Justice in Washington and received the DOJ's Outstanding Trial Attorney Award. This is one of the best guys in the country at what he does, and he's right here now in St. Louis, and he can help you with any kind of IRS problems. You'll be saying, no, I'm not guilty. I'm with Milty. That's Mark Milton at stltaxlawyer.com. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
There it is, Mark Milton online at stltaxlawyer.com. Tim, Indiana's plus 120 to win it all. That's from Griff 2, Doug.
Okay.
Griff the second? I guess Griff the second. Well, I understand that. And that's wonderful. And I think Oregon is even much better than that. Here's the problem. Doug, do you know what the problem is?
No, what's the problem?
Anybody want to tend to this? Chairman Curtin, I felt like you leaned in. That was my tell. You might have the answer to the problem. Martin, I feel like you're doing logistics over there for Sports Finals Sunday night.
No, something else. I'm preparing actually for email. I was clearing a sheet here. Yeah. My note. I'm getting ready for email today.
It's coming up.
That's how important I take this topic.
Well, you do, and you rank them. I like that you rank them.
The notes that Martin takes could be sold at auction.
When he was doing it in 2004, I was like, holy crap. And now here we are 22 years later. Thorough as the day is long.
The number system doesn't really make sense, but like the first email, you got to start low. So I'll give it a 4.7. But if the next one is worse, then I got to give that a 4.4.
I like where you go with
so
it.
I'm just keep going backwards. So the winner ends up being like a 5.2.
Papers, what is the problem with Griff II.'s suggestion for
betting Indiana?
So I have to make 3 hedge bets in order to assure profit. That's the route I've taken, which I think is kind of a no-brainer.
It's the upside of like getting to this point in a long-term future
where you
bet.
hit on a plus $15,000 play.
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's the benefit of being in your position at the moment. You already made one of the hedge bets,
and I allocated 11.7% of the potential winnings, so that's out the window now.
Right.
I'm at peace with that. That's the deal. But I also have to hedge on Indiana, Oregon, because the price point is so different between Oregon playing Miami and Indiana. But if I were to just bet Indiana plus 120 to win the national championship, what happens if Oregon wins tonight?
Yeah, then you're left at large. Yeah.
And that's the issue. So that's the problem.
Right. So you'd be betting tonight. That's where I'm a little confused. Is what the bet is for tonight? Why is that being bet?
Because the price discrepancy. It's a good question. I realize most people probably don't know the difference. The price discrepancy is essentially $100 on the money line between Indiana playing Miami and Oregon playing Miami.
Right.
Which is kind of surprising to me. But Indiana is a 4, it depends on what book you're looking at, 4.5 point favorite over Indiana. Or excuse me, Oregon is a 4.5 point underdog to Indiana. And Oregon would be a 2 point favorite against Miami.
Okay.
So therefore, it's a 6 point delta between Indiana and Miami as it stands right now. But that doesn't matter because I wouldn't be betting the spread. I'd be betting the money line.
Right.
And so I have to bet $230 to win $100 on Indiana.
Got it. Okay.
But I only have to bet $140 to win $100 on Oregon.
Right.
I didn't think that through. The guy who retired to Florida from playing daily fantasy sports and gambling did, and I didn't even think anything of it. He goes, yeah, you're going to need to hedge a portion of it tonight on Indiana because of the different price points.
Got it. Yeah,
and I'm like, well, that's why you're down in Florida fishing at like 40 years old. And I'm up here, building spreadsheets to try to figure out how to optimize this situation.
And backup kickers from Mizzou.
And coaches who have not won against teams with winning records in the SEC.
Right.
Do you know after Mizzou went down the field in the Gator Bowl opening drive, I was thinking, how many games were they successful with the scripted first drive? And I almost texted you and said, hey, could you work up a spreadsheet?
I'd be happy to do it.
Alabama?
Work up a spreadsheet
one of them?
Papers do it off the top of his head.
Alabama was definitely one of them.
Yeah, they looked like a machine.
Yeah.
But he saw Auburn go down the field against Missouri. And
Kansas.
I didn't mean to hijack the discussion, but it did make me think of you in the spreadsheet when they did that at the Gator Bowl.
Oklahoma, they didn't convert it, but they were basically rolling down the field against the Oklahoma game. Mississippi State opened up with a touchdown.
Why not script more drives? Why
Because
does the
things
opening
change with the defense.
Okay, well, they
seasons
have
change.
several different scripts. Okay, we'll go with Plan B or Plan C or Plan D and run this series of plays.
Yeah, I think it's not a great look for a coaching staff when you're really good on that first drive and then things change and then
that's how you sucker in people live betting too. It's like, oh man, this team looks unbelievable on that first drive, and then they don't have much for the rest of the game.
Gotcha.
How come Jackson hasn't addressed the QFTA issue yesterday? I know it wasn't a Tim issue because he makes some mistakes. What happened with QFTA?
The fact that it wasn't on YouTube yesterday.
Oh. I was like, did we not upload it? But I could have sworn I saw it on my podcast feed.
Yeah, it was up.
What was it titled? Waxing Our Own Cars?
Waxing Our Own Car.
I like that phrase. That's a Buck Swope phrase, I believe.
Yeah. The software that we use, the same software that we actually use in this studio for broadcasting on YouTube, the license is usually a year-long license for it, and the license had expired over the holiday break. It was my lack of forethought to get that taken care of beforehand, so we kind of were in a slight period where we didn't have the software license. We'll have it back next week. So this week was an offline podcast, back live for QFTA next week.
Doug, is that a good enough excuse?
Okay, it's fine.
If you want to come for my head, I get it. Just know I get it. You know,
He understands.
That 37 minutes of QFTA you missed out on.
Yeah, what about that? Only 37 minutes for you.
Yeah, we're balancing out the scales there.
You had to feel good about that. All right, we got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today coming up next. Somebody is trying to catch the incel at the other end of the couch. That's coming up next. TMA 101 ESPN.
friend and Donnie. That boy is scrappy, always making the beef-fib happy. Luke and Baker got legs like a trunk, always line drives, never in a funk. Look out now, these baby birds gonna fly. First place by mid-July. All the haters be singing their tune. They'll be playing in October when you're on your pontoon.
I just don't get the pontoon reference.
Yeah, you can't rhyme cigarette boat.
Now this part is where the Rockettes would start doing the kicks. Yeah. Everyone's got their arms around each other.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. Mark Hanna is the sponsor of the 9 o'clock hour here on the program. And what great real estate to have from Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies, online at evergreen-stl.com, because in the month of January, he's got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. A lot of complaints, Jackson, about the fact that the email is in the 9 o'clock hour now. And some I've seen saying they always used to email in the 10 o'clock hour. And what I hate to do.
Right.
What I
provide the truth
is point out that from 2004 to 2024, the show aired from 7 to 10, meaning that the email of the day had been in the 9 o'clock hour for 2 full decades.
Yeah,
So that argument's falling a little flat?
Well, it's just that it's not based in reality, unfortunately. Now, you might have recently started emailing in later.
In the last 14, 15 months.
Right. But if you're a long-time emailer and you started sending your emails in at 10:45, that means you have never got read ever. So I find some flaw. Now, if you're a newer emailer, I slightly get it. But then my response would be, okay, but this month we're giving away a $10,000 HVAC system. So we haven't done that before either. So if you take the good with the bad, I'll take it without.
Is that facts of life? You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and then you have the facts of life. And then Charlotte Red coming acting like she's all boozed up.
Oh, was that Dingbat?
Miss Garrett. No, that was Vera, and she was on Alice Mel's Diner. And then Flo said, "Kiss my grits." Am I right on that?
I think so.
That's a bad nickname to have, Dingbat.
Wasn't that was Rob Reiner's character in All in the
He was
Family.
Meathead, and then Edith was
Dingbat. Okay.
What's the matter, huh? How do you script that if you're a writer on All in the Family?
Gene Stapleton will join us.
In the script, just, what's the matter, huh? How do you write that out?
Should I do a
Or is
deep
that just
dive?
Carol O'Connor kind of winging it?
Should I be doing deep dives on 70s and 80s sitcoms?
Yeah,
I'm just
start
so
with
lost.
Different Strokes, move to Webster. You'll notice similarities, but then you can go to Alice and Dingbat.
Yeah, and then like All in the Family.
MASH. Did you ever see that?
I saw the movie.
Completely different.
Right. But I think the movie won Best Picture.
Might have.
Yeah.
Got to do that on Movie Boy.
There was
Maybe. Military. I like military.
tweet or something yesterday where Kojak, it was an episode of Kojak, but he was interviewing Liberace on the show. And I'm like, how did this is just unbelievable. Like, who decided Kojak, a tough cop, is going to somehow get sideways with Liberace?
There was
on the
always,
show?
I liked when like Johnny Carson would take time off and they would just have someone fill in that was like kind of out of nowhere. Joe Garagiola would fill in for Johnny Carson sometimes.
on the desk.
It's wild.
Abel did it a couple times.
John Lennon and Chuck Berry.
Really?
Yeah, they did. That's when Yoko Ono started screaming into the mic and Chuck Berry's face like lights. He's like, what the hell did I just hear? And then the engineer cut her mic.
That was the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember that.
Good news. It's time for the Design Air Heating Cool email of the day. Chairman, how did it go today in the emails? I mean, you've become the target of many emailers' ire in the month of January.
One thing's for sure, there's emails.
Oh, no.
You don't like the batch.
I didn't say that.
Well, then stop your kvetching.
Got a dozen in there today.
Oh,
that's a dozen, cousin. All right. The leader so far this month is the incel at the other end of the couch. All right, Kirk. Here we are again. My last 2 emails sucked butt crack. I got no votes and no motion. Tried to keep it clean, but where the frick has that got me? Time to come in and make a splash on a Friday and tell the loser on the other end of the couch that his emails have had a quick start, but will end. And then it gets vivid about...
Don't get vivid.
I'm just going to bail.
Just going to bail. Boy,
okay.
Doesn't look good for him. Who was that, Tim?
Bail. It was from Just Gonna Bail.
Illini Lance.
Illini Lance. Just going to bail.
Miami's win only pleased me for a moment. Yes, the wager I placed on it would pay for my weekly Bud Ice budget, but would Tim take his winnings and run if his future on Miami hit? TMA is the only thing that gets me by on these lonely mornings when I haven't received a sausage pick from Carson Beck. I can't go back to spending my mornings at Denny's, drunkenly hitting on the waitresses and pretending that the stain on my pants didn't come from the biscuits and gravy. I don't need no gravy. All I need is Tim, baby. Doug, that's from the Tin Man.
Man. Told you there was emails, Doug.
Tin Man. Got to get better than that.
First miss cuck. No disrespect intended. Doug, what
does that mean?
Is this a conversation with
like
people?
Mrs. Cuck or just like a Miss Cuck?
Mrs.
Okay.
But it was spelled Ms.
Okay.
And that was a big thing in the 70s, so you wouldn't know if a lady was married or not married. Is that what that was about?
Yeah. It was kind of a trendy thing to do, a progressive thing to do. I'm Ms.
But didn't Janet Jackson do that with nasty? Miss Jackson if you're nasty. Remember Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
I thought it was Haley Williams. Is that an homage?
Maybe it was because it was certainly nasty. Was that 86, 87?
It wasn't just if you were single, you'd be Ms.
Yeah, that was the whole way to say, I'm not going to let you know if I'm married or not.
It's a big thing with teachers.
That's kind of the move in Clayton.
When I had teachers, one of the teachers got married in the year, and she went from Ms. this, and then her maiden name, Mrs. It was very hard to adjust as a young man.
And whenever I email any of the kids' teachers, berating them, of course.
Yeah,
right, exactly. I always struggle with that. Oh, is she a Ms.? Is she a Mrs.? I usually end up like, hey, what's up? Like,
I think there was a Ms. magazine, wasn't there? MS.Ms. magazine?
So, yeah.
They're like, Diane Keaton would have been on the cover.
Yeah, Gloria Steinem would have had a feature article.
First, Ms. Cuck, no disrespect intended. TMA women have to stick together. Oh, Doug, it's another female email.
It's not another one.
It's not easy being female in the TMA universe, which you understand, and that was the point. Now, Doug, I don't even know what the hell I just read. Now, Doug, what exactly is it going to take for you to admit I'm a real-life woman? Because your tone lately has been more disrespectful than the final Lisa Ann segment. Even Iggy has been less humiliated, and that includes Leona Helmsley treating him like a hotel towel.
Oh.
I've taken a couple Jeffco Hoosiers for the team in my day, but wow. Anyway, back to you. I don't make promises I don't keep. Unlike Timberfake and charity checks, I have photos. Yes, the booze was flowing. Yes, it was late. Yes, you were desperate to leave that bar like it was a TMA live event circling the drain. Deny me again, and I'll be forced to release them. At which point will you publicly admit, yes, I like my daddy butter, and yes, she's a real girl? That's from a banty little hen named Sharon D.
A banty little hen named Sharon D. Still a man. Sewer worker.
Sewer workers,
yeah, I think so.
MSD.
Hello, lads. There I was, bellied up to the bar. Mizzou just won the Hoop Rock. The atmosphere was electric. I saw the top 20% of that five-head. I could tell right then I had to take my shot. I saunter over to this beautiful khaki-wearing specimen. I tell him, hey, gorgeous, want to go camping? Because this tent is ready to go. He stood up, grabbed my hand, and headed towards the little fella's room without saying a word. I couldn't believe my luck. As we moved through the crowd, I looked over and saw some hair flapping up and down, and I squinted. The crowd opened just enough for me to see him. Jackson celebrating the big win by dancing as hard as he could, by himself, soaking wet and feeling it. Best night of my life. Smoochers, that's from Iggy's crestfallen accountant.
Gosh. Iggy's crestfallen accountant.
Gentlemen, I heard Doug is looking for the nitwit that set up the NCAA transfer portal window. Portal window. Well, look no further because I am him and him is me. My list of accomplishments are as follows. Arranging a free putting green at local charity golf tournaments. Writing copy for East Coast-based linen stores. Overseeing the Highway 40 renovations in 2008. And most notably, sourcing the lighting for the TWA Dome. Let me know if the station could use any of my skills. In the meantime, meantime, I'll be managing the disbursement of funds from the Rams lawsuit settlement. Regards, that's Mudjack Mike.
Oh, Mudjack Mike.
Morning, boys. The first week of this intrepid little email contest has not disappointed. I doff my cap at the level of depravity, cuckdom, and sheer lunacy that some of the listeners go through on a daily basis. You are the real heroes. I never thought I would be ashamed of not being pretty enough to have a romantic rendezvous with friends' stepdads while growing up, or having a lovely wife. You enjoys making sweet mouth music on my piccolo from time to time.
No.
But here we are.
No.
I don't know what but this isn't a concession speech.
Kevin Miller.
Far from it. Did Rocky just take a seat in the cuck chair when Clubber Lang offered to show Adrian what a real man was? Hell no. He faced his fears, got to work, and frolicked on the beach in an inspirational montage with his adversarial mentor, Apollo Creed, caressing each other lovingly at the end. So buckle up, Doug. We got 3 more weeks of glory. Have a great weekend, gents, and we'll see you on Monday. That's from the Heiser House Hooligan.
Heiser House Hooligan.
Buenas tardes, amigos. I heard you fellas talking about the newly proposed Manfred plan and wanted to help make some sense of it. It's rather simple, but you have to follow the White Rabbit. The first half of the season winner advances to the National Eastern Division North to play the winner of the American Southwestern Division East Northern, who goes to the midseason tournament unless the Western Eastern Division South can upset the Northern Southern champions in the second half. Then both half-season winners play in a blind choice round robin. And if no clear winner emerges from all of this, a 2-man sack race will be held on consecutive Sundays until a champion can be crowned. If you build it, they still won't come. Make Ween Wednesday great again. That's from Mean Gene Okerween.
Mean Gene Okerween.
Yo, Pillsbury, cut the music. I am the genie that pops out when you rub the Mia Malkova fleshlight. I am the cold breeze and the hot breath you feel on the nape of your neck when camping with Squeef and the boys in the Smoky Mountains. I am the lustful hound of tuna tyrant Doug Vaughn, betting the loose mongrels in your subdivision. I am the neurotic numbers on the spreadsheet featuring NCAA Division I kickers and their backups. I am the frothy grog that spills down your chin, Scottish Highlands. I am the listener's double gastric bypass surgeries. I am TMA. I am email of the day. 9 days. I gave you 9 days, 9 chances to be the men your women and father-in-laws could desire, but you failed. Now daddy has to come home and prop you up on the diaper changing station. My advice to you, quit. Give up now, you fat XXL, high fructose filled bags of diabetes. The champ is here, and he's coming for the crown. That's from Cucky the Dwarf, King of the North.
Cucky the Dwarf.
Strap on your feed bags, you dirty little boy pigs, for tonight is Sketty night. Round 4:30, my buddy Todd is coming over to help put a lift kit on my race car bed. Finna get some 42s on that bad boy. Spinners, bet. We'll be crushing them bush lattes and working up a sweat real nice like. Once Gam rings that dinny bell, we'll all head into the kitch for her handmade sloppins. You're all invited to join. Bring a tool and a smile, but leave your inhibitions at home, because once that bed is fully lifted, we got to take it for a test drive. And when I say test drive, I mean we are going to have sex with each other.
Oh.
We finna get some mud on the tires, if you know what I mean, Dougie boy. You can't break my bed, but please break my back out.
Oh.
Loves Adam from Lime. You always had a problem with him, didn't you?
I did.
Is it the same Adam?
Is it Adam?
Different.
No. There's a caller Adam, there's Adam from Lima, and there's Jackson's buddy Adam from Guatemala.
The caller Adam lives up there in Normandy or Veneta Park or one of those places.
I think Pasadena Hills.
Yeah. Adam from Lima.
As I continue to get better at teasing, we flash back to spring training 2018. At the picnic table, we had Tim, Doug, the cat, the plowboy, and Joe Roderick. Meanwhile, back at Kirkwood, the studios of 590 the gift card, Iggy sat poised to hijack the presentation from over 1,000 miles away. And this time it wasn't to retell a story about sleeping with a married woman and then getting peed on by her husband while hiding in a bush.
Oh.
On this day, we learned that Iggy had successfully booked Lisa Ann for a couples dating game at a TMA Live. There was instantly speculation over whether Mr. and Mrs. Scott's wrinkled ballsack would participate, but then suddenly the large-breasted engineer whispered that Colton Wong was approaching the picnic table, to which the high-usage pervert 1,000 miles away replied, "You tell Wong he can wait till tomorrow. We're in the middle of something." While Tim added, "We're a little busy. We're trying to figure out if a couple from the Illinois Peninsula is going to hook up with the fantasy football expert." A texter who simply identified as the 101 ESPN listener observed the Lisa Ann dating game conversation could only happen in Jupiter, Florida on the grounds of Cardinals camp. Forget player and front office interviews. Doug agreed. He raises a strong point, but I don't think it's going to derail our direction here. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. That's from Buck Swope, DBA, the recess lady's breast.
Buck Swope.
Marn, Doug's love is steady, tender, and true.
No.
A quiet kind of magic in all that he'll do. Older in years, but perfect for me. I whisper, ruin me, and he gladly agrees. When Doug walks in, the room agrees. Those tight khakis bring men to their knees. They hug his bulge with perfect fit.
Okay.
Confident cloth that just won't quit.
Confident
Your cloth is confident?
No.
He loves his tuna, simple, true, mayo dreams and ocean blue. Oh, Doug, my muse, my favorite view, tight khakis, tuna, loving you. That's from Victor, and there's a picture of the guy, too.
I don't need to see it. Victor.
Because you already know what he looks like?
Oh, of course.
Never forget.
Disturbing email.
And, Salty Bald Dad, who Chairman Kurt has been going back and forth with. It looks like he's in.
Sometimes you just got to hold the mirror up and let them take a look at themselves.
Oh, I think I know what you're saying. This isn't good, and you want it to be heard.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, we boys? It's hard being an email of the day celebrity and the king of the trailer park. I got more knocks on back window and smacks on the side of my 96 10 than ever before.
Nice.
96 S10?
This is a rough start.
They done called you out on that Riz Light Sports show, they would say, as we shared a nip of 99 bananas or smoked a bowl off Kermit the Bong. I gathered all 5 of my boys, Timothy, Tim, Timmy, Tim, and Filter Boy, to listen to Uncle Tim's beautiful voice say my actual name on the radio. Thank you for the best days of my life. That's from the Salty Bald Dad.
Salty Bald Dad finally got read.
I think it's good.
Chairman Kurt is applauding.
Martin's giving it a 9.
Some just got NA. Like not a
That's what we have for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. We will have our secret ballot, and we will announce the winner coming up at 10:55. Jackson, the finalists, I guess, will get played.
Sure.
Ideal. All right, that's coming up at 10:50. All right, time for us to take a break. More TMA coming up. 101 ESPN.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, Anthony Edwards becomes the third youngest player in NBA history to reach 10,000 career points behind just LeBron James and Kevin Durant. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Doug, is this my boo?
I don't know who it is, Tim, or the year.
Is Boo the song or the performer?
My Boo is the song. That's by Ghost Town DJs.
Ghost Town DJs, Doug. Doug, if your game is on,
give me a call.
Doug likes us, I can tell.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
How about that?
That's a compliment.
Progress.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. The show's on the YouTubes at youtube.com/TMASTL. 10 o'clock hour is brought to you by Design Air Heating and Cooling. Little Beer Cat says, I got to say, I like this format of email of the day more. It gives us that are not participating more time to shame some of those god-awful emails. That's from Little Beer Cat's Doug. He is his father's coital hype man.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a, and also we get to read more emails.
Now, had he entered that text into the email, he might have won.
How about that? At Little Beer Cats, you could have got yourself a $10,000 HVAC system from Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling. Martin, you know anything about Seth? I think you do.
I do. Love Seth. I was just going to tell Little Beer Cats, if you win and you shove it in that dorm room, maybe you get a little kickback from Murray State. Seth is the guy to deal with. He has great employees, great product. It's unbelievable. You roll all these things together. Great service. You're going to be happy with Design Air. When it's heating and cooling, that's not something you can just sort of go to YouTube. Oh, I'll just go down there and fix it myself. No, when it's broken, get the pros that come in, those technicians. Doug talks about them all the time. It's a little awkward. But what they do is get in, get the job done, and get out. And that's what they're supposed to do. They're not trying to sell you something. But when you're ready to buy, make a purchase like I did, you call Seth, and his team will explain that very simply as well. You can count on Design Air to be around this week, next year, next month, next decade, all of that, because they've been doing this for more than a century. Family-owned business, St. Louis-based. That's all you need to know. It's designairservice.com year-round. Any issues, heating and cooling, you know what to do. Go see our friends at Design Air.
There it is. The Design Air heating email of the day. Heating and cooling email of the day. We announced at about 10:55 the winner coming your way. We have been joined by Joey Vitale. We have been joined by the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond. If you missed anything, go back and podcast it via the Schaefer Door Company podcast. A lot of Ole Miss and Miami discussion on the program today. A lot of Blues conversation as well. And we've got what is this that we've got here on the Josh Shirts thing? I see the audio. Where'd it come from?
SLU put out on Twitter. Yeah, SLU put out on Twitter like a little hype video from their win at VCU, like a 4.5-minute video, and it features part of Josh Shirts' pregame speech at the beginning of the video. So
was he reference TMA to get him kind of fired up?
I would imagine that would.
Maybe it was later in the video, and I like at the beginning. But here's what Josh Shirts had to say to his Billiken Club before the game on Wednesday.
Thing I'll challenge you. A lot of people live life fearing failure. Few people live life attacking success. Don't live your life fearing failure. Live your life attacking success. It's go time, right? It's go time. All the talking's done. All the preparation is done. But we are prepared. All right, we are prepared, and we are built for games like this. You want to win games like this, there's a level of mental toughness and poise you have to have. You can't get rattled. You can't get frustrated. You can't get anxious. You can't show fear. You can't have bad body language. You just got to play the next play. Together on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, let's go get him.
Let's go get those Rams.
Let's go.
LaSalle, 3 o'clock Saturday. That's on USA Network, so it is a visible game.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, USA Network tomorrow.
It's going to be a pony at LaSalle.
Billikens could be 15-1 coming out of that. Maybe they'll get you ranked.
A little double feature with Missouri at 5.
How do you do?
Yeah. I'll play.
St. Louis U is taking on Fordham. It's an old rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
on January 14th at 7 p.m. And then taking on Richmond. That's the Spiders?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
On January 17th, a week from tomorrow. That's at 3 p.m., both home games. For tickets, check out SLUBillikens.com. The Billikens 14-1 overall, 2-0 in the Atlantic 10. I think operating on the premise that they will get past LaSalle. Doug, we don't take anything for granted.
No, not around here we don't.
That they would be ranked on Monday. Jackson, do you agree with that statement as our college basketball aficionado?
I think Wednesday's game, based on what I saw from some of the national pundits around college basketball.
That was the moment.
Yeah.
Needed to happen.
I saw somebody, maybe it was John Rothstein, our guy, called SLU the class of the A-10. I think Seth Davis called them the best mid-major in the country. I think people have taken notice, not only to the record, but the way they play ball. I think they will be ranked come Monday.
Former Billiken Troy Robertson yesterday, we did a little segment for the sports final, and he said, I think they'll be favored in their next 12 games. He said the next time they won't be favored to win is probably when they go to Dayton, and that's not until late February. So they're going to be in a spot where they can. Things happen. Teams will get you. But they're in a great position here to rattle off some more wins. End up with a really gaudy record. Next, really, I mean, where it would be maybe debatable even is the Friday, January 30th Dayton game at home. I love the fact VCU and Dayton.
Friday nights.
Yep. One in late January, one in late February.
Let me ask you guys a Kawash 10.
How'd you get so many syllables out of that one word?
We'll be flying back from Jupetown, the Real Housewives of Jupiter, on February 20th. I believe the flight out of Lottie Dottie. Doug, you like that? You like that, Lottie?
No, I don't care for it.
Is at 1:55 Eastern. Of course, it's nonstop. Surprisingly, I'm not flying back into Spirit. I have sent emails complaining. But we'll land at Lambert Regional. Mm-hmm. We'll get berated.
Yelled at if someone tries to pick you up.
Correct.
If you just walk briskly away, probably not. But if you have someone in a car coming to pick you up, get ready for it. You're going to get lambasted.
I think we can get to Chaffetz Arena for the 6 o'clock game.
Yeah.
And Doug, you get attacked for needing to be seen, and I get attacked for using a cane.
And a derby.
Purple derby.
It wasn't purple.
Let's just have a limo pick us up from Lambert. They can yell at the limo driver.
Oh, yeah. And take us straight to the game.
Take us straight there.
To see the VCU Rams and the Billikens on the 20th.
That's a 6 p.m. tip-off.
That's right.
Yeah. I think you should.
Is that realistic?
Barring delay. Yeah, I think you'd get home because you're gaining the hour back or losing the hour. Gaining the hour, Doug?
Well,
we're time traveling.
Coming back, you gain the hour.
Right.
You pick up an hour.
Will the limo driver have Tim's cane and derby?
Yeah. Purple.
Yes, it's polished.
Oh, nice.
And my son literally last night goes, hey, when did the Billikens play at home again? Like, look at this.
Yeah.
This is like become a thing. Well, the answer is it's against Fordham on January 14th, 7 p.m., and then a week from tomorrow against Richmond on January 17th. That is at 3 p.m. For tickets, go to SLUBillikens.com. St. Louis is looking to extend the longest winning streak in Chaffetz Arena history, which currently sits at 14 games, 11-0 on the home floor this weekend, and the Billikens lead the A-10 as well. I am telling you this. If you haven't watched this team play, it's just a fun team to watch. I don't know what else to say about it. And they have an emerging star in St. Louis's own Kellen Thames. And Doug, what is it that you emailed me? Oh, Kellen Thames is a bad man.
Mm-hmm. And you feel bad when you stomp around on the court.
But I need people to see me.
Yeah. That's why you just kind of stop and look around and take it all in.
And that's why I never leave my basement.
Well, sometimes I've seen you walk right to in the midcourt on the sidelines. You don't go on the court and start taking selfies.
Yeah, and then I do the duck lips thing, and then I post it on my Insta.
Right, felt cute.
What about being on the jumbotron? Do you throw gang signs?
Of course I would. PFG was the rap group I was a part of at Crestwood Mall in the 90s. We are fired up about it. So tomorrow you got the Billikens and LaSalle fighting Tigers against Toddy. Illinois this weekend taking on Iowa. And got a little situation here, maybe for the first time since, what did you guys say, it was 2013 where all three were in the tournament?
That was the last time, all three.
God bless America. Hey, it's TMA. It's presented by Brown and Crouppen. You can watch the program on YouTube, youtube.com/TMASTL. Listen on 101 ESPN. TMA 101 ESPN, 10 o'clock hour. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling sponsor the 10 o'clock hour and that email of the day. We'll have the winner coming up here at about 10:50, 10:55. Doug had to bolt a little early for a personal situation he needed to tend to. So Martin, kind enough to stick around for, I don't know how you got that cleared with onboarding, but look at you getting that done.
Pull some strings.
We haven't talked about this today because the Cardinals finalized it yesterday, and it's something that I know you have been in touch with the Cardinals and Bill DeWitt III, Martin, on the television situation?
Yeah, just on background. I never really reported anything because I think early in the week he thought, even though it was starting to come out, hey, they've terminated the contract with FanDuel, the mothership, whatever. I think he thought it was a little premature because there was still a chance. And I guess in theory, somebody could still come in today and buy out Main Street Sports and then go to all of these different teams that they have contracts with and say, hey, here's our proposal. That's still, I guess, possible, although unlikely. And so the MLB network model is what most of these teams that are kind of screwed are going to probably turn to, which I guess, there's 6 teams like the Padres. I think the Padres are the first. Their local TV deal fell apart. MLB jumped in and said, we can help get these games produced, get them on the air. It's a big venture when you're talking about all the technical crew that does it. I think that's what the Cardinals end up doing. So FanDuel, as you know it, would go away. I did see somebody online ask, it would still be Chip, Brad, Alexa, Jim. That's my understanding. Nothing would change to you, the consumer, other than where you buy it, where you get it. What that looks like entirely, is there an MLB channel on DirecTV you go to? It wouldn't be all on the app or anything like that. It's still going to be available. But how, where, they couldn't tell you. God. It's a big old mess. But if, really, like I said, in the heyday, it was $70 million a year. So before the Cardinals played a game, they had a check for $70 million. And then in the last couple of years, and I don't know the math, but let's say it was 40 or 50, maybe less. And then now it's 0. You can go back and make some of that up, selling direct to the consumer, but you're not going to get the $70 million.
So yesterday, the Cardinals, among 9 teams, Martin, who terminated their agreement with FanDuel Sports parent company, Main Street Sports Group. The move does not eliminate the possibility that they'll return to Main Street Sports Group on a renegotiated deal as the club continues to look at options. A source described, this is in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch this morning, and no decision has been finalized. The Cardinals are also considering moving their broadcast to MLB's production, which, Martin, you were just discussing, which already houses and distributes 6 teams. The Blues broadcasts will remain on FanDuel Sports Network for now. The team gave a statement to the Post-Dispatch, and they said the following: the Blues continue to work with FanDuel Sports Network as well as the NHL in an effort to resolve any issues related to the existing contractual relationship. In the meantime, fans can expect all Blues games will continue to be broadcast throughout the season, including at least 4 FanDuel Sports Network broadcasts being simulcast over the air on KMOV and Matrix Midwest. So the Blues situation is also up in the air, but for the purpose of this season, nothing is going to change. The Cardinals is to be determined.
And I think if you're the Blues, even though I bet money-wise it's a hit, you probably need that continuity for your fan base. You can't just turn it off. You can't say we're not doing business anymore with FanDuel. I think they've got to just get through this season. The timing for them is probably even worse than it is for the Cardinals.
The reaction in our Air Comfort Service text inbox, 314-399-9646. Merp the Barbarian says, well, whatever happens, I hope we get to keep Chip and Brad. That's from Merp the Barbarian. Martin, you said that.
Yeah, my understanding, that's
doesn't
not
change.
changing.
Let's see. Would it be on Charter? That's from the 636. I would imagine.
I think they'd get it on all the outlets. Just what's FanDuel available on right now? DirecTV, Charter, all of the. I think it would be the same idea.
So I am a YouTube TV customer. Jackson, you are as well, correct?
Yep.
And so what I do, what do you do? I use Prime. That's how I watch it.
That or I'll sign in through the app.
Okay, you just go directly to the app.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
So that's how I watch it. I mean, it's certainly not as convenient as it used to be as entering channel 37 enter, and the game was on. Sucks. But that's the deal for now. It is odd. Just this is a big picture observation that as we have the ability. I could hold up my phone and be live on Instagram in a matter of 15 seconds, and the accessibility for essentially the vast majority of the American population to utilize phones to broadcast. We now have a difficult time accessing games in some of the 4 major sports. Not all of them, but some of them. It has gone backwards in the ease of accessibility.
And we talked about this maybe earlier this week. I think if you're the Cardinals, the timing couldn't be worse because as there's chaos and confusion, you want people seeking out your product.
Or at least being able to easily find it.
Yeah, and if it gets harder to find it or it's just trickier for the audience, what has MLB now? What do I do? At a time when there's less interest than there's been in decades, it's the worst storm possible.
For sure.
Because if it's 20 years ago, you've got Albert and Edmonds and Roland we're moving our game. Oh, where do I get them?
Yeah, people will bust their ass to get them.
So the timing couldn't be worse. But I think in the end, if you're a Cardinal fan, even if you're cynical, you're going to watch a lot of the games. You'll have it on.
Yeah.
It will be televised. The question is where, who distributes it, and what channel is it on, and how much does it cost? And so I guess I don't know the model that the MLB has, but I would think they're not looking to make a ton off the team. They're trying to help them out. So there's got to be some math there where you got to pay for the production, or does MLB underwrite the production? You pay them back as a team based on what you bring in. There's all this weird math that used to be. It was simpler. I always thought the Cardinals should just start their own network, like Yes Network, because every bar in St. Louis would have the Cardinal channel on all day. You'd play some historical games. You could have talk shows all day, long-form interviews. But I think it's such an endeavor to take on just that production and the cost, and it's just a big old mess you don't want to do. If you think about it, Fox Midwest, Prime Sports, all these things over the years, they just give you a check. If you're the team, you don't have to worry about how many cameras, who the director is, who the graphics person is. So I still think it might make sense at some point for them to just do it all. Don't you think a Cardinal channel would be successful? It's just
in a vacuum, my answer is yes. But and I know none of us are, but I'm not privy to the numbers because logic would dictate. I don't know what was the first. Was the first one Yes, and then you had SNY. Cubs have Marquee.
I don't know how many are doing it. I just can see the product itself being consumed, even at a time when the interest in the team is low, because we put on what is FanDuel now at times up here. And it used to be, it was always poker. No offense to him, but it was always, then maybe it's like a boat show. Or it was
some
never
darts.
Yeah, it was never the
Some
greatest
fringe sports.
Yes, it was never the greatest content. But then later in the day, here comes the Cardinal game. But if all day, you could do a sports show at Ballpark Village where you're taking calls or whatever, and then you go, hey, here's our game of the day, and it's from 1984, and it's Willie McGee.
Do you think it could work if it was like all connected? Blues, Cardinals, all that stuff?
Well, yeah, the two teams, I think, if they got together, yes, you would think there would be there's synergy already. They get along. But, who's the big dog? If the Cardinals say, it's really our channel, we'll try to get to your you could have some ego probably at play.
Yeah, you could have a Giants-Jets situation, but, the issue here is you're talking about baseball in St. Louis. You're talking about hockey, incredibly popular. You have 162 games for one. You have half that for the other. But then you also have the unique spot. What about conflicts? It's again, a lot of this kind of like the college football playoff thing. Well, this sounds good. Yeah, why don't they get together and fix it? Well, who is they, and how does it work when you actually get into the minutia? And I know that stuff can be incredibly tedious to try to break down, but there will be a change, not because people think that it is right, but because it has to occur. You now have organizations terminating agreements, and the Cardinals were one of those organizations yesterday. It is 10:36 in St. Louis. The time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne with you on the program. Little Jackie Papers on the ones and twos as Doug had to bolt a little early today for a personal situation. Martin sticking around, and we will take you to the top of the hour with BK and Ferrario. We'll announce the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day winner before handing it off to them. This is TMA on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Well, here we go. This is it. The other semifinal tonight. Indiana and Oregon. Indiana minus 3.5, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every college playoff game day. And that means more chances to level up your picks and turn big moments into even bigger wins. Ride with the favorite. Take a shot on the underdog. Or build a parlay. Then apply your profit boost and go for bigger winnings. Martin, what do you got? Indiana, Oregon.
It's not real exciting, not real sexy, but I think Indiana covers. I think Indiana gets it done. What's that over-under?
Jackson, what do you got on
over-under on this?
48.5.
48.5.
Oh, I got over all day, baby.
Yeah,
over all
I
day.
hate that at
Indiana
all.
covers, Indiana wins, and the over goes over. That Miami Ole Miss, I almost went under on that, and that would have gone bust because of all that late action there.
And it was all the scoring right at the end because that thing got to a point where it was down to 45.
I think we got 3 lead changes within like 5 minutes.
That's exactly right. I would imagine tonight's could be a classic as well. FanDuel is the best place to get into the football action all playoff long. And when you win, you will get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get your college playoff profit boosts today. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Pony, genuine, sick. Martin, you just made a play on Indiana tonight. Fun fact for no and tell. There have been rematches from the regular season 6 times in the college football playoffs history. It's a 13-year history, I think. 5-1 is the record of the team that lost during the regular season.
We saw 2 of them this year.
That's right, that's right. Alabama got a win.
Yep.
Tulane did not.
No. Oh, then we also had Georgia Ole Miss.
Hotty toddy. Same deal.
Yeah.
Went the other way.
Yeah.
Tonight, we get a rematch.
I just feel like Indiana, at this point, throw all that out the window. And I was slow to get on them. Even when Illinois played them earlier, I'm like, I don't know. Indiana, come on.
The come-to-Jesus moment for me, and I think for everybody else, was when they won at Oregon. That was the day of the Missouri-Alabama game, and I kind of dismissed it. It's like, okay, whatever. Like you, because they beat the hell out of Illinois, but I'm like, okay, I guess Illinois isn't that great. And I knew Illinois was all beat up. And then they go to Autzen and win, and I'm like, oh, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And then it just became clear that this was at a different level. The thing is, I mean, listen, I'm holding this Miami futures ticket, and therefore I'm financially invested in Miami, but I still have to call it how I see it. I just think Miami is not in the same class as Indiana and Oregon, not necessarily with talent, but I think it's with the ability to not get penalized and not make bad mistakes. With that said, I think even if you're an Ole Miss fan, you would go, yeah, Miami, was in position to take that thing and win by, a comfortable margin, but because of their own mistakes, they were in a spot where they had to fight for their lives. So theoretically, they could be better than they were, and they've already won at A&M, and they've already won against Ohio State in a neutral site like Indiana, and they've now won on a neutral site against Ole Miss. So,
yeah.
And if you have
maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because that means cash.
But if you have no rooting interest, but you just want to watch the game, and it's much like last year, you had St. Louis kids everywhere. Remember, it was Jeremiah Love in Notre Dame, but also that Christian Gray had a huge interception. Kid from DeSmet. Oregon's got the Jeremiah McClellan, who's from CBC. Dier Hill, who played at Althoff, also played at Vaughn, played for Will Franklin. So it's kind of fun every year. And even NFL, you look up, that Kyron Williams is all over the place. Jamison Williams. It's amazing. Luther, yep. Saturday night.
Yeah.
Was he injured the last game?
No, he played.
Or the game before that?
He had a nice little scamper
run. The game
run.
before that he missed, right? He missed the game recently.
He missed, 2 weeks ago.
And that game, snowing in Chicago. I can't wait. What a football weekend.
Yeah.
It started last night.
It's awesome.
And that felt like an NFL playoff game. Just the way it was back and forth at the end.
I'm so fired up to watch tonight. I'm looking forward to the NFL playoff games as well. You got some great games. Starts off with the Panthers and the Rams. 10.5-point favorite there. I made this note on the spread zone. I don't know if I've shared this on TMA or not, but if I have, I apologize for it being redundant, but it's still some good information. Of the 6 wild card weekend games last year, only 1 was decided by single digits.
Wow.
So I guess I didn't share that on TMA. In other words, this weekend oftentimes has blowouts, and I think one of the reasons is the division winner phenomenon. In other words, if they were just lumped into the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, our good friends, the Carolina Panthers, would not be participating in this week's festivities.
Right.
I mean, rarely do you have a team hosting a playoff game that is a double-digit underdog, and that's what you have. So that you sit there and go, oh, yeah, I guess Carolina, they did beat the Rams, but the Rams are...
Yeah, the Rams are with the Seahawks and Niners, Throw them in the Panthers division where they...
Niners are a little beat up. I'll be curious to see how that translates when they're at Philadelphia, because I don't really trust the Eagles.
I'm looking for blowouts here. Rams, Carolina would be the most obvious.
I would
Packers,
say
Bears feels close.
Patriots. Chargers, Patriots would be one that I would consider blowout live.
For the Patriots to stomp on L.A.
I love the over on the Bills and the Jaguars. I love that, but then you sit there and you go, okay, it strikes you as so obvious that in the playoffs, the strategy Buffalo may try to employ, because Josh Allen is 0-4, albeit 3 of those games are at Arrowhead, 0-4 on the road in playoffs. and they have such a bad run defense that they try to alter their strategy, because otherwise I think if it's a regular season game, they just go, okay, and we'll go our offense against your offense. And we'll see what happens when it's all said and done.
They're saying bad weather in Jacksonville, which is into the Bills' favor.
Yeah.
Like the worse the weather, the better it is for Buffalo.
Supposed to be windy tomorrow night in Chicago for the Packers and the Bears. And then it all is capped off on Monday for the Texans and Steelers.
So Joe's probably prepping, but maybe tonight, why don't we just all swing by to watch the big game, right? Hoosiers will have the game on, I'm sure.
Joe Bucks. They're talking about Prod Joe.
He told it. Either Prod Joe's or Joe Bucks. We swing by first half with Prod Joe.
You think he'd open the door for us?
Joe Buck. Oh, God. He often says it when I stop by for a scheduled interview, TV, like, so you did show up. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you were excited. I thought you were
excited. Bring pastries or something, you know?
What is this?
Bagel
Hope
chips?
everything is good with Doug.
Oh, because
he had to
personal
leave
matter.
early.
It's not.
Yeah, it was something he told us about a few days ago.
Yeah.
It just has a, I don't know. It's got to go to a
something.
funeral.
Yeah,
that's it. I guess
I didn't want to say it early because I didn't know whose business it is.
Right.
It's not a big deal at all. I was
conspiracy theory. Martin, because you're new here, is that right?
Yeah, I'm new here.
The TMA conspiracy theory world is a hauntingly beautiful place because it's beautiful and that people care that much. It's haunting in the fact that it's wrong so much. I hope everything's all right with Doug. Well, I mean, he's driving down the road.
I was waiting for the early texters.
I hope so. I don't know if there's traffic.
I wanted them to say, gee, Doug, why are you so dressed up? It's like, well, he's going to a funeral.
Yeah.
And then you always feel worse. Yeah. I do it to people all the time. Wow, you wore a tie today. Yeah, at a funeral. Oh, sorry.
So, how's everything else going, though, huh?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
How's the play, Miss Lincoln?
Bears will cover, huh? What do you think? Awkward. Yeah, I'm paranoid on this show because you have these cameras, and it's not really a TV show. Like, some shows are made for TV, clearly, but we have these cameras here, so people like to watch on the YouTube. If I ever, just scratch the side of my nose or,
people assume you're on coke?
I'm assuming it'll get clipped off. Look at this guy. Says he's scratching his nose. Like anything,
he's doing junk.
Yeah, anything you do can be manipulated. So I do the show entirely paranoid.
It's understood. It comes with the territory. We'll have the Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Day winner coming up here on the other side of the break. BK and Ferrari at the top of the hour live from Centene. This is TMA, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
This is Jackson with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight, taking on the Utah Mammoth. Pre-game at 7, puck drop at 8, right here on 101 ESPN. That was another SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. You miss anything, you can podcast it via the Schaefer Door Company podcast. Schaefer Door online at SCHAEFER door.com. Call or text 636-782-3608. It's going to give you the quickest response time. They service all kinds of garage doors for service and new installations and have Monday morning standby service for the doors that break over the weekend. That's Jason Gosrow and Schaefer Door Company online at SchaeferDoor.com. They also service commercial doors as well. So if you run a business or warehouse with big, tall doors, Schaefer's experienced in these types of jobs. Check them out at SchaeferDoor.com or call or text the number they set up specifically for TMA listeners. That's 636-782-3608. Schaefer Door, a CHI overhead door dealer. We have poor time management by me once again, so we're not going to be able to play them. So you can email me your complaints, TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. Jackson, the winner of the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today is...
Another new winner, Sharon D. takes home her first win. Yeah, first woman.
A lady were to win the HVAC system from Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling.
I mean, what a step forward for this program, you know?
Huge moment.
Yeah, it will really be changing the guard.
Congratulations to Sharon. You are on the board for winning the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. BK and Ferrario are up next. For Jackson Burkett, for Chairman Kurt, for Martin Kilcoyne, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Elvin, Vaughn, and Tim McKernan, this has been The Morning After, presented to you by Brian and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and on the TMASTL YouTube channel.